For eons the fire giant fell. For eons the gods demanded more until Surtur rose, and the monsters alongside him. Destruction left in their wake. In the heavens, the gods banded together. A monster of their own making may be their undoing. Odin uttered a single word. Ragnarok. The pantheons,
Ragnarok
separated by
again.
belief, now united in cause.
Ragnarok round
The
7.
world needs healing. The world needs hope. The world needs her.
Ragnarok is. I like how Smite lore is literally Ragnarok, savior, Ragnarok, savior, Ragnarok, savior. Literally just
That is
happens
right,
over
everybody.
and over again.
Welcome to the
the whole
Smite Season
lore.
of Hope. I'm Titan Dandy, and I'm joined here by some incredible people. Let's introduce them. Welcome to the show, y'all. We got Ajax and Lermy. How are y'all?
Heyo.
Oh, doing great. Very excited to see what we
What's
got
up,
cooking
Tyler?
today.
Yeah, there's so much that we got cooking. So with the Season of Hope, obviously this is the Season of Hope update show, and we're incredibly pumped to share everything with y'all. I mean, we have a healing rework, we have HUD updates, we have so many balance changes it's hard to quantify in my own head, and so many things. And you know, just to let y'all know, Ishchel, the new god that we've shown y'all, we wanted to share a preview, not coming out till next patch. I wanted to just lead with that, but there are so many things happening here that it's
Lead
not really
on,
gonna. It's not really gonna. We're gonna give you a lot. She'll be here very soon, but we got a lot to show you today. But how about we start off with a video that y'all have seen before? Let's get into it.
Monster, have you prepared for
Slide on in with that one.
unworthy?
These lands are ash and blood. And yet, in destruction,
She's got a cool aesthetic. I hope her
there
colors
is
come through in game.
beauty.
You know,
In pain, there is healing.
she's got like pink
And
and
in
green.
darkness, there is hope.
Because every time they do like colorful clothing and stuff, by the time it gets in game, it's always so muted. So I hope.
So that is right. Season of Hope, Ishel, so many things to be excited about, and we want to dive right into it. This is the beginning of a brand new season, so let's get into it. I mean, again, the Season of Hope being here means that we're shifting away from the destruction, the Season of Monsters that we started with in year 10. And I mean, you know, we have a roadmap we can show y'all. We've shared this before. This is an updated version. Obviously, we're in the 2nd to 4 seasons here, and there's a lot to talk about with the kickoff update of the Season of Hope. So,
doing a
like I mentioned at the
Tier
beginning,
5
the new
skin
god's coming
event?
out next patch, but that is right around the corner, so you don't have to
Already?
wait too long. We just couldn't help but show y'all because she is pivotal to the way the Season of Hope is formatting in the lore of Smite. So anyway, I think if y'all are ready, you want to get into the first big change happening with the Season of Hope?
We do.
The HUD change. Let's
Yeah.
get into it.
So what we have here is affectionately referred to as the HUD update.
The HUD update.
and this
yes.
is a
It's here.
complete ground-up reworking, reimagining of Smite's in-game HUD.
It's
so that
big.
includes all art, engineering, and design. And this is
So
including
big.
everything inside of a match. That's going
Yeah.
to include the on-screen HUD elements like your abilities, your item shown, your mini-map, your allies, your enemies, the scoreboard. It's going to
This
include
is-
the entire
This
item
is
shop.
the thing, by the way, that I was talking
scoreboard,
about.
tab screen, top stats
The
screen,
whole
or T screen.
HUD is getting
the
redone,
depth
and
recap screen,
console
or
HUD and
Y screen,
PC
the
HUD
ability
are
summary
gonna be
screen,
the
or K
same.
screen, and of course
Which
the
means
HUD
they'll be able to
editor
do HUD
itself.
skins again.
Just a huge undertaking, something we've been working on in the background for a long time. You know, taking our time, making sure everything's looking good.
Yeah.
Running it by Olympians and pros, doing a lot of testing, and it's finally here to launch in the Season of Hope.
Yeah, I would argue that the only screen we didn't touch was sunscreen because we have been working on this locked inside forever. This is, I mean, our teams have done an incredible
got
job
jokes
with this
today,
change.
y'all. He's got it.
I'm
He's
trying.
ready.
I'm trying.
So really
So-
what we wanted to do was provide a more modern,
Yeah.
more sleek visual design for Smite's HUD. A lot of people have felt like it felt a little bit dated. Obviously, it's something people are very used to, something
Yeah.
people were accustomed to. So
HUD changes are
anytime
always
there's some
interesting because
changes, there's going to be some getting used
even
to it.
if
We expect
long-term
that. We wanted to
people
focus
like
specifically
them,
on the
people always
in-game
hate HUD
experience. So
changes
that's
right
an
off the
important
bat,
thing
almost
for
always.
all y'all watching out there. Sometimes when people hear about HUD or UI reworks, they might imagine it involving other parts of the game. So we did not make any changes to the client, as we refer to it. So that is the home screen, play screen, God screens, all of those out-of-game screens. Those weren't part of this update.
Got it.
The goal was specifically to focus on the in-game UI elements.
Yeah, and that we did. There are so many in-game UI elements that have changed that we didn't think we could do justice just talking about it. So we're going to dive in-game and look at some of these right up close and share them with y'all. Let's check it out.
Ooh, look at that.
Already looking pretty.
Important to note that these changes are going to be big changes on console and PC.
And PC, yeah. So now, for the first time ever, maybe both console and PC are shared clients. So that's every bit. Editor, the look, the feel. Like, do what you want with it. But let's get into it one at a time. Starting with just talk over what we're seeing here on the screen and what's
definitely.
Yeah. So first, you can just see the your stats in the bottom left, your items, your gold, your god avatar, your KDA, your experience level, your abilities and health bars, etc. Mini map and the scoreboard. So, not a whole ton of anything super flashy, but you will notice that the art has been redone. There's a lot more. Let's say it's a lot more specific in its intention and its design. Old Smite HUD had these really blocky, chunky elements that were built within these really big borders, really thick. These are a lot more sleek and thin, and they're also a little bit more modular. So as you can see, kind of your items and your stats and your gold, those are all individual elements.
I don't have a huge opinion.
You might not notice right here at first, or might not matter to you, but when you get into the HUD editor, those become very important because you can now change and edit and relocate those things all individually.
Yeah. I think in general, they were all console together. And PC lining up with their HUD will just make life easier for
making your map humongous, changing the opacity of each and every individual element. You can do all of that and more.
Yeah, so I'll be looking forward to some incredible HUD layouts on Twitter, by the way.
So one of the first things, the improved cooldown flow. So if you fire an ability, we have updated the way the abilities will show that they're on cooldown. This was something that was often brought up a lot. People said it was sometimes hard to tell right when abilities were coming on or off cooldown. Now you're going to see the icon being fully grayed out until the very end, and you're also going to see the milliseconds when you get to the last second to give you an extra indicator that is coming off cooldown soon.
It's good quality of life.
Clarity there. We have some changes to the chat screen and the kill feed, which if our driver spawns a bot and kills, you'll see, or if they type something or use a VGS, we can also see something. So you now will see your god avatar in the chat screen.
A couple of bonus chests
as well
on
as
the
some
map
other
right
adjustments to the chat, sizing, layout, text space, and stuff like that. And we also have a kill feed. So we'll have a different way to show if you're going to get some kills or not. So you get the big pop-up, but if you don't like that big one, you can also use the one in the top left that's smaller.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
And that one will remain a little longer, so when those busy fights are happening and you can't keep track of who's going down, who got what kill, that's all there for you.
That's pretty nice.
I mean, there's a lot to look at, so we'll keep moving.
Keep rolling.
Item shop. Let's open up the item shop. So this is a completely new item shop. Obviously, we designed with the current habits in mind. We're trying to design a HUD not just completely new for the sake of being new, but one that has a lot of the same patterns, a lot of the same experiences you're going to have currently, but with just improved art, spacing, trying to get more items on screen, easier clarity as to which items you can see and when. We have a lot of features that came into this one. Most important thing to note is console players are now going to see this item.
They've got an anti-heal section. Look at healing bolstering section, healing reduction section.
It will have full console navigation, very similar to what they had before, but instead of those nested rows of cycling items and something like that, and different tabs between categories that are a little harder to see, they will now see the full list of categories and the full items in the list. They can just use the D-pad and other shortcuts to navigate them.
Yep.
We now have a dedicated button for purchasing glyphs, so those are called out much more specifically when you click through them. We're not going to go through every single updated feature on the show today. We're just going to look at a couple, but you can see here there's the glyph section and the additional glyph items. And we also have the widely requested new filters such as healing bolstering items, which we'll get to later, and healing reduction filter. So you can just click a single filter to find your anti-heal items.
Yeah, that's nice.
Without having to memorize where they are.
That should have been in the game a decade ago.
I saw like that side tab being used for consumables. You could like scroll the shop and have consumables on the side. That
you can
so much like that.
Multi-filter items, so you can filter by and. So if you want power and attack speed, you can click both of the squares and only see items that have both. We didn't used to have that. Yeah, we have a lot of really cool stuff in the item shop.
Absolutely incredible. So, oh man, I'm excited. Keep going. What else you got to show?
So next is the scoreboard tab screen.
Good quality.
This one's just mostly an aesthetic and design rework. Looks a little empty here because we don't have a full 10 players in the bot match, but of course you'll see that when that happens. You don't have any items yet, but some other things we have are
feels pretty similar.
A new section that shows total kills on objectives such as Gold Fury and Fire Giant kills per team,
bounty
as well as kill bounty and kill streak call outs, so you can quickly see in the tab screen who's going to be worth more when you kill them by seeing their kill streak and that bonus gold that you'll get for killing them.
Interesting.
We have a completely redone death recap screen that has a lot more detailed information, which again doesn't get shown super well here in this situation unless we're in a complicated team fight, with lots of different sources coming through. But it is going to show you breakdowns between magical and physical damage by god, how many gods have dealt you damage. It's going to also display what types of CC effects you were hit by on your way to your death to help give you some additional information about why you died or who killed you. It's going to have individual scrolling sections per god. So when you see this, you can see killed by Anubis. That's going to have their own gods. They're going to be in vertical columns. The number of different gods that hit you. And if they hit you with a bunch of different stuff, you'll be able to actually scroll. You can see the Mummify has the stun call out there. A lot of cool new features on this.
Yeah, wow.
And you can see the individual
lot of
ability
quality
that
of
kills you,
life
but
that
it's
came
sword.
with the
sword
HUD,
shows you
you
what
know?
That's
and you can
incredible.
also see the breakdown between
Just
magical
good
and physical
stuff.
and true damage as well. You see that total damage bar would be broken down by those individual damage types as well.
Right.
And it's got a lot of information to tell you exactly what killed you.
We also have the T-screen, mostly just an aesthetic and design update, mostly functionally the same. We have the ability screen, similar kind of story there. There are a couple little features here for gods with really longer abilities. There will be scrolling on the screen, so you can make sure you can scroll. They don't get cut off by the text there.
Yeah.
There's been some just general organization and display changes. And of course, though, the most important and most exciting for most people here at the very end, the HUD Editor, which we won't spend too much time editing the HUD in this demo here, but the HUD Editor is now going to be fully supported on console. You'll be able to make every single type of change and number of changes that the PC players can use. You'll be able to better preview your changes without exiting the HUD element. A lot more of these HUD elements have been split into more modular assets.
It's a big one for console,
individually
for sure.
resized and editable. We also
the
have
funniest
a couple
part is console players have been playing with that HUD for so long.
extra,
People are gonna be like, if I change this, it's gonna feel wrong.
These, like health bars. Let's see. Changing things to be able to be vertical versus horizontal. A lot of stuff you'll be able to play in there. Look, you can split out consumables versus relics at different locations. A lot of different cool stuff in the HUD editor. But I know most people are out there cheering for console, so we have wanted this for a long time too. So very glad to finally deliver it. Final note about the HUD update is just that HUD skins are going to be temporarily disabled. You will still have them. You'll be able to see them in your loadout. You'll be able to see your ownership of them, but there will be a warning message there to notify you that if you equip a HUD skin, it's not going to actually change the art
they
of your
gotta
HUD.
remake them
For now, all HUD skin owners are going to retain the ownership of those items, and there are going to be HUD skins. We're going to make a demonic Anubis skin for this HUD. Those are just going to be coming in future updates. So we'll be, keep an eye on the upcoming patch notes to tell you which HUD skins will be ready to use again. And this also means that we now have the possibility to create new HUD skins.
Woo!
That's exciting.
For a very long time.
Yeah, definitely know that.
We didn't want to make new HUD skins because we were currently reworking the HUD, so it didn't really make a lot of sense to rework something we're just going to have to rework again.
Yeah.
But now that we have it here, we're going to get through the backlog of those HUD skins, and then hopefully within a few months here, we'll have some new HUD skins available to be unlocked to purchase.
Yay.
Yeah, so the first big update we're happy to share with y'all, again, like
The
we've
HUD
talked
update
about
is
it,
good.
this is something that
Smite-
we've heard y'all, the
Smite
community,
needed,
reach out for, and we've been working on it for a long time. It
UI,
turns out Rome was not built in a day,
Overhaul
and neither
kinda
was our new
thing,
HUD.
so.
But it looks incredible. It's extremely modular.
Yeah, it needed a
it's
facelift,
for our
exactly.
console homies
Smite
too,
needed a
because we wanted to make
facelift
sure
on
that
that
they had
front.
the exact same experience shared between us.
They've been
there's just
working
so
on
much
that
good.
for forever, by the
really
way.
excited about it. And
Forever.
we're going to move forward now because there's still
I was
so
hearing
much more
stuff
to talk
about
about
this
with
like
Season of
6
Hope,
months
starting
ago.
with a new
They've been
battle
working on it
pass
for
called
forever.
Duality. But let's do something different. It's a new season. We got a new update show format. Let's see the skins for this battle pass right up front.
This piece is unsettling.
Pretty cool looking skin, actually.
Just a little bit of
Pretty
chaos.
decent.
There is power here.
Zeus skins always look super cool.
And anxiety. It shall be fun.
The forest is in pain. I will never forgive
Looks like a
the
Nox
harm
skin.
these intruders have caused.
Looks like a Nox skin.
Bow before me, or accept your doom.
I think that one's the recon.
Blood will be spilled this
I think.
day. This chaos is unsettling. This world needs someone to return it to order.
Okay.
With knowledge and determination, we will succeed.
The forest is in
all of
pain.
the.
I must heed its call.
I thought they were
Come to
showing
its
them
aid
again.
At once.
So all of the new skins also come with a reskin, which is why it's called Duality.
That's right. What you just saw was the Duality Battle Pass, and you saw a lot of skins for it too. As with moving from the Season of Monsters, Season of Hope, we wanted something that represented that dark and light, the shift, and that's where the Duality Battle Pass comes in. There will be a darker and a lighter version of several of these skins, which we're excited for y'all to see. Also, the new video. I hope y'all liked that. We're playing around with the way we share information with y'all and get to showcase stuff to make it even more epic. So make sure that you let us know how you feel about that, because we were really excited about it. I think it looks really cool.
I mean, if that's the way they want to show skins from now on, that was like 1,000%
talking about
better.
what
Like
is
10
in the battle
million
pass, although that's a
percent
part of
better.
it. This
If
new
that's
battle
how they wanna
pass is
show
going to be
skins.
different in that it is 30 levels longer. Goodbye, 60 level battle pass. Hello, 90 level battle pass. So that's pretty big. The battle pass is going to last a little longer as well. It lasts the duration of the season, so 11 to 14 weeks. We just, it just
90
made
level
sense for us to
battle
move
pass,
it
yeah.
that way. And it's overall bigger. So one thing that does mean is that the battle pass will cost 200 more gems to account for the fact that it is so much bigger, but fret not. If you're completing the paid battle pass track, if you spend those gems to get the paid battle pass, you will also earn 200 more gems for completing the battle pass. So we made sure we accounted for that, for all of that. But we just wanted to give y'all more to work towards and a bigger better battle pass. It's kind of hard to say. Say that 7 times fast.
Bigger, better battle pass.
Bigger, better, better. Yeah, so we just saw a lot of skins, and those were pretty incredible. Again, we have the light and the dark themes, which I'm really excited about. I think it's really cool. And, there's just... I like Zeus skins. I like him floating up out of that book.
That Zeus skin is so cool.
It's super cool. So, really excited about that. And, let's take a closer look at one of those. Let's take a look at that Zeus skin. I want to see the card art for it. Ooh. So this one is Arcane Wizard Zeus, not to be confused with the Arcane Charmer, which is the more light blue good guy, I guess, version you'd say based on the color scheme. But I love the floating out of the book thing. That is so cool. Or is it just
the card art? The card art's cool.
Unique look for
I'm
Zeus.
down for
He's
some
got
card
that
art.
kind of ethereal, but not quite human.
You gonna spin me
look to
right
him,
around,
where he's
high
got,
res?
no legs. He doesn't need legs.
No legs.
He's floating.
Yeah.
I'd say it's a completely new theme for Smite, which is always really exciting.
Yeah, and it's one of those where Smite has a lot of content in it, right? We've been around for a long time, so being able to find something, like how our teams continue to work together and find these new things that are completely alien to what we already have in Smite is incredible. It's a feat of magic. So just really, really excited to see this, and really excited for this newer, longer battle pass. It is going to be
accept just
so much
the card
fun. You
art.
have to work for it too. If you thought you were working for the last one, it's a little longer, so you don't have to work super hard. But it's gonna be, make sure to check out the quests, make sure to check out the content available, and the update notes if you want all of the information on that. But there's still more to talk about. Cool battle pass, nice. Incredible HUD update, nice. What next? How about a new map? How about we have more revisions for the Season of Hope Conquest map? Let's check it out.
Argus? Shoutouts? Rainbow. There is versus Hope. Wow.
That's right. We have reworked the visuals for the Conquest map to reflect the Season of Hope, and we're super excited to talk about it, honestly. As with all of these changes, they're very big, so, I mean, let's get into some of it. AJ, if you want to take over, let's talk about the new Conquest map, the Season of Hope Conquest map.
Yeah, so each season we want to define with some strong changes to Conquest. That's
Yeah.
going to include 3 core pillars, right? One is an art and environment update, which you saw sunset lighting or sunset lighting, rainbows, colorful glowing foliage and emissive water across the map.
Yeah.
Just
So pretty.
getting us ready for our next goddess to arrive.
True that.
The other one is pathing changes. So we have core geometry changes to the map. That is, in this map, you're going to see that in the back Harpies area mostly, but in the future, who knows what we could be changing. Lane shape, objective areas, you never know. It's always going to be something, though.
Yeah.
And then finally, a new mechanic. So we'll get into all those details in just a minute. First of all, this is kind of a new mechanic, but this is a pretty important change here. We have some changes to the kill bounty system.
Got it.
This is going to be very important and impactful to Conquest, but it is actually going to apply to all game
As a
modes.
comeback mechanic, it's huge.
You know, even if you're not a huge Conquest main, pay attention to this one.
Yeah, this one's for everybody.
We're going to be making some adjustments to make sure that kind of the kill streak and especially shutdown features feel especially good. We've always had some feedback about, when someone really gets ahead with a crazy lead, it's really hard to catch up, or it's really, killing them doesn't really feel that rewarding.
Yeah.
So we are making 2 big changes. The first one is a slight adjustment to the actual tuning already. The game already has a bit of tuning where killing someone lower level than you, lower value in gold, earns you a little less, or killing someone higher gets you a little bit more. We're going to be tuning that slightly, so when someone way ahead kills someone lower, they're going to get even less than they used to.
Okay.
When you kill someone higher, you're going to get a little more than you used to. And then we're also
Incentivizing
adding an
people to
additional
stop
bonus
camping
for a
the people
shutdown
getting
bonus. So
wrecked.
this is if you kill someone who's on a kill streak. We're now going to have a really cool global accolade for that kill streak. So all 4 teammates will receive assist rewards, even if they're out of range or dead. So this is really to make sure that a shutdown would give a lot to the person who got the kill.
Okay.
But sometimes
Kinda
you
cool.
You don't want to be mad at your guardian
Kinda cool.
for kill stealing or something like that. This is going to spread the love around the team a little bit more. When you take out that opponent who's like 10-0, we want to make sure you're rewarded for it and it makes sense and they don't just respawn and come back to do it again, right? So these are, smaller economic changes, but they do have potential to have a big impact on the game.
For sure. Yeah.
And then when we get into Conquest, there's a lot of different goals we had. We've been looking at each of the roles individually, trying to look at what types of changes we want to make. It's hard to make adjustments to anything in a vacuum because all of MOBAs and Smite and Conquest, everything is so interconnected. When you make a change
everything's
here,
part of everything.
it has a chance to affect other changes elsewhere. So one of the biggest changes is with the back Harpies.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back Harpies are now going to respawn twice as fast, but be worth half as much. So this is a proportional shift, right? So it's same net
Force
total,
them to go, force
but you have
junglers
to be
to
there
go
to kill
do
them
more
twice
farm.
as often.
So they're
Now, you might
ganking
be
you
thinking, what's
less.
that going to do? What does that actually mean?
Yeah,
What it
what
means
was the
is your
point?
jungler is going to need to jungle more and won't just be able to sit in lane ganking, right? We wanted to encourage a lot more aggression, a lot more fighting in Season of Monsters.
Yeah.
But we might have overstepped that just a little bit, as often happens when you're dealing with live games.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And we've heard the feedback about jungler just in my lane 24/7 all the time. So they're going to have to move
24/7 all
back
the
to those
time.
back Harpies more frequently now to keep their farm up. It's not going to take them out of the ganking entirely. We don't want that to happen. We want them still to be doing that, but we don't want it to be as free as it was before.
Okay.
That, of course, has a big ripple effect on a lot of different roles.
Oh, yeah.
right?
It spreads everywhere.
Mid lane is going back to those frequently. Duo lane is doing that as well. Even solo lane rotating over there too. So there is a lot of change that can come from just that one change.
Yeah.
So far, interesting. So far, so good. No complaints so far.
Let's see. That's going to lead us into there's a couple.
There's so many, right? Yeah. It's like, where do you branch off of
complaints
to
so
talk
far.
about next?
We're getting interesting.
So along with the back Harpy value being so important here, we also that's where a lot.
Stop being interesting. Not during sweeps week. You can do it. Come on, refresh the page, baby. Come back to me.
To the back Harpy, it's gonna be
We're back.
easier to get to.
Okay.
And it opens up a little bit more space to fight just
Nope, we're not back.
north and south of the Fire
We're
Giant
back.
Gold Fairy space and
Yeah.
around the back Harpy space.
Yeah.
To add on to
popular
that,
spots.
Yeah, the roaming harpies are also affected by that as well because as
Okay.
some of you know that play Conquest, the roaming harpies at the current moment, take this very long path all the way around that large rock.
Yeah.
So with the changes there, it's going to be a bit of a shorter path, so you're not as punished for being 2 seconds late to the rotation there. You're going to be able to catch them on the way around.
I think we need to take a break just for a second. It seems like Twitch might be having some problems. So, yeah, I guess we'll just hold for a minute. Yeah, see y'all in a second, I guess.
Bye, Dandy.
Oh, too many
Chat lighting us up right now.
Season of Hope's got too many things.
Couldn't get in
They didn't
We are
turn it
live
off.
though, so we're just hanging out, I guess. Just
We're in live.
chilling.
I thought we were gonna throw to something.
Yeah, we're throwing to more talk, I guess. So yeah, just struggling. Hope y'all are enjoying it. Again, the update show's kind of new looking. We've definitely been playing for it. So we're gonna take a break and just wait for things to settle out. We'll see y'all in just a minute. All right, well, welcome back. It's me again, and things happen like that, such as the internet. I'm just happy that I'm able to sit here and talk with people instead of back in the old days when we were doing it from home for a while, and I would have just been sitting at my computer like.
That was awkward.
Either way, yeah, it was very awkward. So either way, we're back and ready to continue talking about the Conquest map. And you know what? Now that we're back, let's just keep going. Let's go so far deep. Let's go into the map. We're gonna check out the map
Here we
in
go.
person.
A little rat.
So I was talking a lot about back harpies and the specific economic impacts of
think
them,
I'm
which
still-
was very interesting.
I think I'm still
everybody. But
digging
what we're
the
going to see that's
UI.
even
I
more
like it.
interesting here is the new mechanic. which we're
I think
introducing
I
in
prefer
place of the
minimalistic
Gold
to
Fury side
clunky.
back harpies.
Love
They are
water.
the Cyclops Thieves. So these are a similar character you might have seen before, like the Cyclops Rogues, but these guys have a special bonus feature.
Bonus
And
feature.
what they do is something we've never really quite done in Smite, and that is that they have a scaling reward based on how ahead or behind your team is.
Okay.
Okay,
So the
that's what they
Cyclops
did for that.
Thieves, as your opponents get every 1,000 gold ahead in net gold your opponents are, the Cyclops Thieves will not literally steal from them,
Yeah,
but they will. The
figuratively.
Cyclops Thieves will have an additional treasure chest enemy that spawns in their camp to kill that
Okay.
will give you more gold.
Okay.
So if your team is behind by thousands
That's
of gold,
nice.
you can see up to 5 different chests. It'll be the 3 thieves plus 5 unique chests that each all have to be killed. And these killing these chests has an additional unique effect where it doesn't just give your team some gold, it actually distributes the gold amongst your team, giving the most to the lowest lowest gold team member.
Okay.
So you kind of get a double split here.
Alright.
If your team is falling behind, you can kill those chests to get a little bit of bonus. And every time anyone who kills those, whoever's behind on your team the most is going to get the most from them.
Yeah, try to catch them up a little
Yep.
bit.
Now, this is also a very important thing to keep in mind if you're the winning team.
Yeah.
This is not necessarily an anti-snowball feature if you keep a close eye on it as the opposition and you go in there and invade and destroy those chests before the enemy before that other team can. So we do have a little bit of a invade tweak there, which is if enemies kill the chests, they're not going to get any gold or reward for those.
Oh.
It's purely a denial.
Oh, cool.
Got it. Okay.
that's
So
great.
a very unique thing
cool.
to replace here in these Gold Fury style or Gold Fury side back harpies. Now, when that mechanic's not in play, like when the match is close for a long time, which happens plenty of times, a lot of our play tests, it stayed very close. You don't see any chest ball. Then it works the same as a back harpy camp. It's the same respawn time, same net value as a back harpy camp.
Okay, got it.
And the important thing about that is that you're
Smite
going
is
to keep a
looking
really
kinda
close eye on
gooey
those
with all these
respawn timers,
flowers,
right?
you know?
Because knowing the
Kinda
amount
looks
of
like a
chests that are
Smurf.
there is going to be really, really
kinda-
important as
Yeah.
well to make sure you're distributing
All over the
wealth,
Smite
like AJ was
map.
talking about, but also that you're planning your invades accordingly. A lot of times we see people try and go for the green buffs or the buffs that are closer to the center. This one's just close enough where you can get to it. You can sneak in there, steal the chests, and run away. But it's going to be a little bit tougher, so you've got to make sure that if you're going to go for it,
That's
you got the
water?
whole team
Okay.
back.
If you say so.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
It'll be
It's
a new place to ward. It'll be
pretty-
a new focal point for
pretty
supports
thick.
and junglers to pay some extra attention
I
to.
don't know how viscous that is.
Some additional similar play patterns as we saw maybe from the Obelisk last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
This kind of
They
brings up
smurfed
some
all
ways of
over
that,
the
but in a
map,
way that we
man.
think is a lot more dynamic and balanced.
Yeah, and I love the idea of having another objective for a team that maybe has fallen behind or is bad early game to, if they are, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, getting and making sure that they're catching up, doing everything they can to pull themselves out of the trenches, because I'm one of those people
it's
who I fight to the
Nickelodeon
bitter
slime
end
dyed
and having
blue.
a way to bring the game back within arm's length.
F7 crew, huh?
Yeah, but awesome. So yeah, and I mean, just beyond all that though, obviously looking at how beautiful this map is, I love all of this, all of the water everywhere, all of the glowing plants and everything. Just absolutely
It
beautiful.
does
So,
kind of have
before we hop
Avatar
out, is there anything
vibes.
else big that you'd like to call
Yeah,
out?
no, that's a good
let me
call.
just rattle off a couple other changes real
Let's
quick. We
rattle
talked
them
a
off.
bit about back harpies and jungle and this new mechanic. The other focal points we wanted to adjust was mid lane was also getting a little ahead further than we intended. So the mid harpies that spawn in those 2 mid camps before Oracles and Pyromancer, those are only going to spawn 2 harpies instead of 3.
Okay.
Should be a little bit of a experience in gold decrease for mids and also junglers.
Got it.
We're getting very ahead in the whole map right now. We're kind of treating carry as like the balanced baseline. They're in the right spot. So we're taking mids and jungles down to their level.
Yeah.
Also bringing up solo. So solo is going to see more value added to that silver camp that they're going to be contesting over.
Okay.
It's going to be worth more golden experience for killing.
Yeah,
As
we're
are their
coming
blue
down.
buff mobs are going to be worth more golden experience for killing. So that's going to make invading even more important if you want to win your solo lane.
Okay.
In general, we wanted to make the solo lane more impactful based on could you win it early, right? So
And
we
supports
wanted to
get
make it
nothing.
more economic
Good
impact
day,
if you're really
sir.
outplaying your opposing
You
solo.
lose.
So
Yeah, if you're
that
putting in the work.
extra value is going to come into play there, as is some changes to the totem, which is
the
now going to have a
totem.
larger radius and a higher damage bonus threat buff radius. So especially dangerous to fight around that
Yeah,
totem.
owning the totem zone, very important.
Yeah, give you some more chances to kill it.
Got it.
Let's see. We have a couple other smaller changes. Some tweaks to Fire
Okay.
Giant, changing its respawn time, which I think it was a fun experiment, but we saw some flaws in that, so it's being reverted back to what it was
Yeah,
before.
bringing it back.
Making some adjustments to Gold Fairy and Pyromancer to make them harder to body block or kite in some weird ways,
Yes.
making sure you have to fight them
Yes,
head on.
that's a very important one.
We're going to make Tower Bastions just a little bit tankier,
Okay.
so they don't get cleared quite too
Yeah,
soon.
grind
right.
down right away.
We're going to make Tier 1 towers do more damage to gods.
Yep.
Give you a little bit more of that early game invade and dive protection.
Okay.
Yeah.
The roaming back harpies, as Lermy called out earlier, those changing in their pathing point. We're also adding a new roaming harpies
Okay.
that on the Fire Giant side actually roam, and they roam across from order into chaos and back around before. So if you really pay attention and make some close, tight rotations, you can actually steal more from your opponent's
Yeah, snipe them from
because
your
they come
opponent.
right to
Okay.
you.
Yes, these
that's
ones
crazy.
are really fun too because they're also on the
Interesting.
duo side, and so they cross paths basically.
Oh yeah, they are on both sides.
Yes.
Sorry.
They cross paths basically going in opposite directions. So there is a time when both
Dang.
harpies will end up right next to that silver camp or on the other side right next to the gold camp. And if you catch them at the right time,
Whoa.
that's a little bit of
It
extra
feels
for
so
you.
good
Yeah.
with the unleashed mechanics and the roaming. It
Oh,
feels
yeah.
so good when you just get to
Okay.
scoop them all up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just drag them all to a camp and you clear it all at once. It's great.
It's a little bit more
And
dynamic.
the last change in here, which is really, it's just kind of a god change hidden in the conquest section.
Yeah.
But we are nerfing the magical basic attack damage from the purple buff. So that's just a mage ADC nerf.
Okay.
So could have thrown that in the gods or item section, but it's really,
Yeah, just
it's a
sprinkle
magical
it in
ADC
here.
nerf, but it had to go in the conquest section because it made sense.
Specifically.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of shifts
Okay.
to each and every role. We're going to see some different changes in the
Those sound
economic impact
mostly
as well as the
interesting.
map prioritization from each and every role.
All sound
That's what we want to see.
could be
for
cool.
Season
Could
this
be
year.
cool.
Yeah.
We want to
Yep.
make sure
Alright.
that you have different economic things to pay attention to, different objectives to pay attention to, potentially different play styles, different pathing.
I've got no
different
complaints
priorities.
so far.
So many things.
I'm
Like,
withholding my
there are all
complaints.
of these defined updates, and then so many things that touch so many other things because of the essence of MOBAs.
You know,
It's like
a lot of
you had
things
this big
that
pool
maybe
of change and just
in a month
sprinkled in
from
some
now
more
we're like,
change,
yeah,
so
it didn't work so
absolutely
much. But I like
wild.
trying
so,
stuff. I'm always
that was the map
I'm always
change.
a big fan
We've
of
gone
throwing
over some
things at the
incredible
wall.
stuff, but I'm just
So.
going to keep saying it. We're not done yet. Season of Hope still has more to offer, starting with an incredible new event coming out with the Season of Hope next week called Hope Reborn. Let's check out the skins from that event.
I like that they're going back and forth between balance and skins instead of
No
doing like
one
all
misses
one or the
nice
other. It
gal.
makes it feel like it's a more
My
dynamic
backup
show
singers
actually, and I
always have
really
my
love the way that
back.
they're showing off the skins compared to the way they used to.
Always one step ahead.
I feel like watching the Patch Notes experience is like 5 times
for the
better.
weak.
These skins are horrifying.
Come,
Or
the
skin, I
jungle
guess.
awaits.
I guess this is just
What
after,
are the
right?
likes of you doing at this classy venue?
This world is home to many species.
Now that's a Marty skin.
Which of
Like a little
them
Tiamat
the
baby.
most delicious meal?
What did the ruthless business person say to the employees?
Damn,
If it
that's
tells you
actually
don't succeed,
excellent.
You're fired.
That's actually so good.
It's time like these.
Every Ymir skin is cool.
Why we still
Literally every
fight.
Ymir skin is cool.
Let's get on with it.
I'd love to have you over for some tea at my cottage. We just get a bad rep. I'ma change that. Oh, don't worry. My dragons don't bite. Hard.
Ted's gonna get the most kills in this game. Why would you take me seriously?
Not sure what to do about that. Not sure what to do about that one. Holy cow, there's a lot of skins in this thing.
Justice. Perhaps it can be salvaged, but only by my hand.
Let's see what tricks and trials we can put those adventurers through.
Shadow Tanuki. Okay. Bro, that would have taken like 45 minutes in the previous patch show format. That was so much better. We got the point. We got to see all the skins.
Wow. That was
see
a lot.
how you
I
get
don't know why I
them.
said that way. That was a lot of skins. I'm
Bada
so
bing, bada
excited.
boom.
Like, I have all this energy that I just can't keep it in. So a lot of cool skins you just saw there
Infinitely
from
better.
the Hope Reborn event. A huge event with a lot of stuff going on. And I'm excited to talk about it. But I'm also excited to introduce somebody new joining us on this set. We have Clumsy here. So you know him. You love him. And then Lermy, still hanging out, still keeping it cool. We just holding it down. So let's get into the event. The Hope Reborn event is similar to some of the summertime events that we've hosted in the past, in that this is a 3-chapter event spanning several updates. It's a Season of Hope type deal, and it's going to have a lot of incredible cosmetics released throughout that time, as well as the brand new T5 skin, which y'all saw right at the beginning
that
of
was
that.
the full event, which is why there's so
Lady
many skins,
Aphrodite.
it's like every
So
patch more
a
things
super
like
incredible skin that the team has been just super jazzed to work on. There's so much love went into that, and it's in a theme that we're all really, really proud of. That kind of
It's all the
cartoon
tier
style
5
that we've seen in other skins. So just an
I don't know
absolutely
how I
incredible
feel about tier 5
So each chest,
comic
throughout
Aphrodite.
or each chapter of
I
this
feel like it
event
worked
has
with
chests
Cthulhu, but I don't
containing
know.
cosmetics for the event, and you can direct buy the
That's all, yeah.
cosmetics or roll them from the chest and work towards unlocking that T5 skin as you progress through the event. Purchasing any of the items, whether it's through the rolls or through the buying directly, will help work towards that T5 skin, which again is kind of like the highlight, the peak. It's a really big, awesome thing. So this is what the event's actually going to look like, and you'll be able to see all of the available cosmetics, roll the chest, or purchase them directly as you see fit. Completely up to
That
you.
Gooby
And
skin
work
is
towards
legit
the reward
actually
that is
excellent.
the T5 skin. You can also, as it says right there in the bottom, click the Buy All button. And
I feel like
if you
that
do
is
the
a
buy all
wild,
option, you will
a
unlock
wild option to
everything
go
through
with.
the
And
entire event.
whoever
So like
did
all
it
of that
nailed it
right
out of
there,
the park.
you'll have all of the available skins delivered to you immediately, right away, including the brand new T5 skin in your pocket as soon as you click Buy All. And then as the other updates come out, you can see there's
Fenrir
a scroll
skin.
bar there because there's a lot more content. As this content comes out in later patches throughout the rest of the Season of Hope, you will also have all of that the moment it releases in the live game. So pretty well worth
Just
it.
in general.
And fun enough, actually, this is, with the way the event works, also a slight bit cheaper than it was in the past. So you'll notice the buy all option, just a little cheaper. Not in the discounted price as well, but in the total overall price. So you still get the same T5 and a bunch of cool stuff, just a tiny bit cheaper, which is always good, you know?
I mean, those skins are insane.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I was about to say, there's
personally.
so much insanity. Like how cool are all of those? And I love the new videos we have too.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Clumsy's
this event
like,
is so much.
honestly,
Right?
I'm the lead game design.
That's
true. It's not my problem if the skin's sell or not. I'm just here to make the game fun.
I'd want to look at some of these skins a little closer, actually. And I think one of them that I'd like to look at, and we'll start with the card art, is the Morgan Le Fay skin we saw in there.
Oh,
Some of y'all might not have
so cute.
recognized.
Look at
Yeah.
this.
Damn, look at that. That's so cool.
It's incredible. Like that dragon too. The like it looks like fall.
Dragon friend.
Like those like leaf looking scales.
It's like eating from the picnic basket.
It is.
Hungry.
Like
She's trying to
mushrooms.
gather some mushrooms, man. She's
That's
just
true, the
trying to
mushroom
be
basket.
her best cottagecore self.
Cottagecore self. That is honestly my vibe. I cannot wait till I'm like, I don't know, 70 and I am living in a cottage.
Card
eating
artists are
mushrooms.
elite. You want to be them?
With the dragon?
I'll be imagining the dragon.
I don't recall if they do them in house yet.
A lot of jokes there. How about
They
we go
used
in
to
game and
not
check
do
this
the
out
card
in
art
game?
in house. I don't know if they do now.
Oh, look at her with the little magic wand sword.
It's so cool.
The magic wand sword. Yeah, that's sweet.
Well, they're gonna run
Was
away
it like
forever.
They're gone.
a flower patch that came up underneath that ability? That's super cool.
Also, I know we've already talked about it, but it's also fun seeing all these new skins with the new HUD.
Oh, yeah, true.
Odin.
Oh,
Hope you find your dad.
Absolutely adorable.
Up my sleeve.
Awesome.
It's crazy seeing the shift too towards more of a lighthearted, like I mean I don't know what her alignment is, but
I mean she's usually pretty
cool.
dark, right? This is
Yeah.
kind of like she's turned cute here.
yeah,
I'm for it.
she has some skins that range from like very angry person to creature of imminent horror, and like shifting into this kind of fall time witch thing is I don't know. I absolutely love it. The colors and everything.
Good vibe.
So,
Good vibes.
and absolutely incredible. Another skin, because I wanted to see this one because I love this one, but could not preview the T5 at least a little bit.
Oh, yeah, of
so
course.
let's check out the card art for Leading Lady Aphrodite.
I actually do want to see the
This is
T5 in game
genuinely
because
Oh my gosh.
one of my favorite T5s,
So there's
if not the
5
favorite T5. This just
five
has so
different
much
ones?
personality, so much character. I mean, playing 5 different characters is certainly a lot for
Okay.
our leading lady here, but she's doing it pretty well.
Oh yeah, she definitely rocks it for sure. And just seeing the whole cast of different characters, like you said, it's the personality that each one of them has. And
I see
they're all
what
kind
they're
of, in their
going
own way,
for.
very representative of a very popular, I guess, character.
it's
throughout
still you can see
cartoon
Cthulhu
history,
actually in the back
With
of the
like
Baron
the safari,
skin, and
the
still,
jewel thief, the
all the other
showroom
kind of
singer,
cartoony
the like.
ones.
I don't know, devil, scary lady. So
The villain.
The
villain.
villain. Yeah. So an absolutely incredible take, not only on the concept, but
And
for
Aphrodite's
as
kiss
well,
is about
who,
to do damage.
I don't
so.
know. It was just a very fun character.
time to
play
get rid of
with.
tier
So,
5.
yeah, I think that I think there's a lot of potential here. And before we go in game, I just want to share. I talked a lot with the people who worked on this, and there's a lot of information they shared, such as the sound design is immense. I mean, I asked out and had people tell me that they sent me 5 paragraphs to talk about worth of audio stuff, and I'm not going to read all that off, at least not now. But so much work went into this, and I think checking it out in game is the only real way to showcase it in all of its glory. So let's get in there.
Look at her.
That's so awesome looking.
This may
cool
just be
target.
the base of it, right? But I still love this take on Aphrodite. I think it is adorable.
Oh, 100%.
Well, and this is one
and
of
she's
those.
got her like Cupid friends.
Yeah, this is one of those skin concepts that if it was just this, I mean, it wouldn't have been a T5 probably.
sweet.
That's so good. But like this concept alone would have made for a great skin, So to see this just in the base,
Costume
so it's
change.
the
Love
ultimate
that.
costume changes.
now she's like the showroom singer. And again, it's so cool too because all of these, like each of them, they put a bunch of different work in. This one involves a lot of like jazzy live music feels. There's microphone bumps and a lot of the audio work to emphasize the feeling of a live singer. So like that's part of it that went into this particular version. But there's 5 versions of this skin, which is just, I mean, wild to see.
Yeah, each version has their own little friend as well. So that one was another singer. This one is our jewel thief as well, which has some really fun animations on it, especially
that
for
Aphrodite
them too. But
kiss
there's her
damage.
little
The like logo.
Target
mouse
exchange,
signal,
Yeah.
if you will.
That's so cool. I mean, again, it's cool how each of these,
There they
like you said,
are.
they have their little
Look at
bird
them.
friend. Yeah, oh my gosh, it's
adorable.
And she's doing the like spy action movie thing where they jump through the lasers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I remember seeing that right there.
That is so cool. Like you said, they all just have such a unique personality.
Oh,
This
that's such
one
a
I think is my
vibrant change.
favorite.
Ooh.
Of course.
If I could
oh,
stay in
look
this
how that.
form forever, I would.
This is like a smile.
Also, just like the neon effects kind
effects
of
are
going
pretty
through there.
good.
So cool.
Like that
The
like
ult
pink
as a
and teal, or I don't
costume
know what you call-
change
oh,
is
wow,
kind
that was
of
awesome.
Neon graffiti.
fun
Yeah.
lore-wise. It's
Little
not my
skull friends
favorite
and-
tier
Yep,
5,
we're here
but
for
I
that.
don't
We are here
dislike
for
it.
that.
I'd
Yeah,
say
like
it's
the
right in the
maniacal
middle
noises
for
with
me
the
for tier
fire.
5s.
Oh,
Right in the
man.
middle. It ain't no Archon Thanatos, but it's way better than
and now
Hell's
our brave
tier 5 and
explorer.
stuff,
This is our
So
final form of
I'd
the
say it's, like,
5, but
right in
this
the middle
one's still
for
pretty
me.
fun. I just think that the like friends and effects here, especially pushing on this more like sandy, watery
Oh, that's
effect.
so
amazing.
Cool,
And
yeah.
little toucan buddies.
That's so pretty. Yeah, little toucan friends.
Dude, shout out to Toucans.
Toucans give me plus 1 point towards this skin. It just went up 1 more point.
I just love this.
Yeah,
skin.
I mean, like I said, there's so much to talk about. There's so much love that went into this, both on animation and audio. It's
Yeah, the effects are stellar too. I love that costume change.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
each individual skin has its own voice pack as well, so they all
Very cool.
sound different. That's a 5-in-1.
Yeah, there
by
are
the way.
five voice packs in one. So 5 skins, 5 voice packs, 5 sets of effects. Just absolutely incredible. And again, you can get this tier 5 one of 2 ways. You can get things throughout the event, throughout the Hope Reborn event. Whether it's rolling the chest, buying the skins directly, or click the buy all, have it day 1, have everything from the event day 1, which is a lot. It's one of those where every time the update comes out, you log in for the first time and it's like, ta-da, you've been given Everything. Yeah, right. It's crazy. So make sure to check that out. That event will be dropping.
I love
week with the update,
Stoic Clumsy over on the side.
It's been like a year.
I'm here to talk about
to say next week with the update
stuff.
is always.
I'm gonna keep saying
wild.
that. I'm just gonna keep being blown away.
All right, so we've talked about a lot of cool things, and we have more cool things to talk about. And next up, we're getting into some of the meaty stuff, some of the game changer stuff. And by that, I literally mean game changing balance. So let's hop into it. Starting off with some of the healing stuff. Now, we released a closer look blog that kind of demoed some of the things we were going to do, or at least explained what our goals were.
I still owe Clumsy like 2 tacos.
You know, there's a lot of specifics in this. There are,
tacos.
not to spoil anything, but in total, there were over, 70 item changes 70 god changes and more item changes.
I'll get you those tacos.
It's a lot of stuff.
A lot. And we're not going over all that in person because I would like to die of old age in my house and not in this chair. But so you know, for all of the details, all of the numbers on everything, check out the update notes. Live now, they have every single detail, and it's a lot of details. But we have some highlights we're going to go over, and let's kick it just, I guess, with goals overall first. What were kind of the general goals going into the Season of Hope?
Right. So like you said, we talked about that a little bit more in depth in the Closer Look blog. Definitely make sure to have a look at that. But in general, we thought this was a great time to address healing. I think even before, I think it's always really interesting to see that. But even before going into seasonal changes or large patches, there's always kind of a community sentiment. And even before going into this one, I think there was some threads, some online talks about what would you like to see different and changed in Smite. And one of the ones that we've always kind of had as a sticking point and we knew we wanted to address in the time now is healing. How does healing work? Where do we as the designers, as the game developers really think that healing could fit
has been on
in
the
Smite's
docket
gameplay?
for
Because it's always kind of been the sore thumb.
years.
It's always been okay, well, it's either a little bit too strong or lifesteal, whatever, maybe self-healers.
5 years.
And then there was the brawling debuff.
Yeah.
Right, or buff, however you want to pitch that. But and that system, I think, honestly, it did fit in its goal. It fit what it wanted to do.
Yeah.
But we also knew, and we mentioned even at the time, this is something that we're going to address at a later date when we can find a more holistic approach to kind of, one could say, fix healing. So that is the goal, right? That is the marquee pitch of what we're trying to do here this Season of Hope, right? We're being hopeful for that one.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing to consider as well is that this is something that has taken a long time to develop. We have to make sure that we address every single kind of healing that there is, because there's a lot of different kinds, like you were mentioning. Lifesteal, self-heal, group heal, whatever it may be.
There's so many knock-on effects of these things.
Yeah.
But so overall, the brawling effect is gone, right? So that's a really big change.
F and chat.
And what that also means is, I think we talked about in the blog, and you've seen, we have basically decreased healing across the board from pretty much everyone by about 30%, which is not the exact same as brawling, but there's differences
40,
in times where those things are going to happen.
Yeah.
There's also going to be no god left with any magical power scaling, or any power scaling, magical or physical. It just happens to be mostly on magical characters. At all. So that's going to really kind of set a new foundation of where we can balance healing from.
Okay.
And with that in mind, as kind of being the crux of how we were going to start, there was, like we said, there's so many different knock-on effects, and we're going to be talking about the action plan. We can talk about the individual changes, but effectively getting rid of the brawling effect, nerfing healing by a set amount, making sure that lifesteal also is another factor that's been nerfed by an appropriate amount too. Getting rid of the scaling, and then introducing new fun ways that healers,
be so interesting to see
or
how
gods with healing abilities can affect
the balance
their teammates,
that
can
they
affect
do
themselves, can affect the enemies, and that's a really important part. Is that you may see healing overall being diminished in the game, and that's one of the goals. But some of the gods who rely on healing the most should have new ways to influence the game.
Yes, and that's the most important part too. Is that healing in Smite is not equal. You can't compare Hell to Achilles. They're not the same.
Right, absolutely.
So we also address them in that way as well, depending on exactly how much they were relying on their healing, how strong they were in the current meta is also applicable here too, with some characters that, weren't super strong, may have gotten a buff to compensate. Some of them maybe did not get a buff.
Yeah.
But it's really dependent on how they were affected in the current meta, plus the amount of healing that they were getting, plus how much overall that healing was affecting them and their kit.
Yep. And the last thing I want to say there is that whether you believe it or not, I think most of you do, healing is statistically one of the most powerful effects in the game. Regardless if it's in meta or not, it's always really, really strong. And whether there's anti-heal in mind or not, there's going to be a lot of times, a lot of games where the entire team may not be affecting everyone on your team 100% of the time with anti-heal effect. And speaking of which, the second bullet point is, with all these healing changes, there is now going to be an anti-heal cap. You can no longer get reduced all the way to 0% healing. So that's just one mechanism to make sure that even with all of these changes, you could say with these shifts to nerfs, you can no longer have completely reduced anti-heal. Except, sorry, caveat on the caveat, except with just a few gods, right? We didn't want to change Odin, Serket, Osiris.
Yeah.
I think those are the only 3 cases in the game where they just have complete heal negation.
Okay.
Okay, man. There are mornings where I can wake up and I don't even know like if I want to eat Cheerios or nothing for breakfast, and they're over here like, well, we changed healing, and healing is 5 different things, and each of those branch to 1 or 2 different things.
Yeah,
and
you can see now how this started to spiral out of control.
Oh man. Well,
But that's part of it too. Is we just got to make sure that we're again conquering everything here. When it comes to
I'm saying that to give respect to y'all and y'all's team, because the amount of things that you think about going into this, I've been working with Smite for a couple of years now, very directly, and playing for longer than that. And even sitting here, hearing y'all talk about it after reading these notes and like typing them into patch notes, you're teaching me things even now about cases. So, sorry, I just had to gush for a minute.
And also on that, like as we said about for season 1, and we're gonna say with all the seasons, all these big gameplay beats,
of course.
we're going to expect there's going to be some things that players are going to continuously want to change for better, for worse, where it may be. Smite is an evolving game, and we're going to be balancing all these changes with you also. Obviously, feel free to let us know, and I'm sure we're going to say it again later on about what you would like to see further change with these healing.
I mean, the nice thing about the 4-season format is,
like the case with
if these changes kind of
overall
suck,
sweeping change,
and it's like,
there will be
whatever,
things that will be
well, in 3 months is a new damn
we are prepared
season.
for that. We are certainly keeping a lookout on those.
It's like the best part about the 4 seasons a year.
We'll
have a new season.
The opinions of our pro
If
players.
we try something and it doesn't work, totally crappy for 3 months.
Here in terms of how that works.
Instead of a whole year.
Those opinions come in.
Exactly.
So,
all right, now let's actually get into it. Right?
Let's get into
We've
it. So,
stalled long enough.
yeah, we're looking for y'all's
boy.
feedback, but we want to give you stuff to give us feedback on, starting with brand new healing items, completely new to the game. So let's get into it. We have the, oh god, you're going to make me say this, Rod of Asclepius?
That's correct.
Nice. All right,
so
good.
just like we talked about, again, the tiny clumsy preamble before every, I like getting into this. We talked about healers kind of losing a lot of things in terms of the actual healing output that they can do, but also we want to make sure that they gain a lot of things, right?
Okay.
Different ways to play around with their teammates, play around with the healing effects they may give. So that led us to 2 different healing trees, one for magical, one for physical. We've got a couple other things that are out there as well. But for these trees, we specifically wanted some ways to amplify your healing back to, again, you're never going to get to the same amounts you were before, especially with scaling gone. I'm going to keep hammering that point. Scaling is gone. That's a really big contributor to the strengths. So Rod of Asclepius, an item that's previously been in the game, as well as Catechaeus Club. Could you... I think that's
one of those.
Right?
Yeah.
Catechaeus Club is also going to get a similar change, but different. We're going to get there in a second. And there's also new items. So rework on Asclepius, I guess you could say.
Yeah, this one is rework. So it's
rework.
Yes, and one important thing that I do want to clarify here with Rod of Asclepius is actually what healing dealt means.
Yes.
So I know the wording was previously confusing, so I want to clarify on this. Healing dealt is only your healing that you're passing out. Either that's to yourself or to your teammates.
Okay.
Giving healing dealt to other players is only in regards to what you are healing, not what they are giving out themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't make their heal stronger. It makes your healing them stronger.
Yes.
Got it. And it works for yourself, so always good to know.
Okay.
So Rod of Asclepius
So
passive
that's why they
healing
worded
dealt,
it
you
like
mentioned,
that.
is going to be
Healing
increased by 30%.
dealt.
There's no team-wide aura. It's now only going to be specifically
So the
for you.
heals
But
that
the new
you
aura
are
effect here
distributing
is
are
allied gods
stronger,
within
but the
30
heals
units
other
have
people are
10%
distributing
CDR.
are not strong.
That's big.
That's a really new effect for an aura. It's something that we wanted to make sure that felt utility driven. 30% is going to be on the higher bar of healing dealt increases as well.
Yeah.
Again, the
Yeah, it's
caveat
a
there
passive
is
and
the
not like
unit
an aura,
size
exactly.
Is 30 range. That's
Very
not a
small.
lot.
That's
So
pretty
you're not going to be
small.
affecting your entire team all the time in fights, nor even in arena.
Yeah.
You do have to meaningfully choose where you're going to be to
Yeah.
provide CDR for those effects.
Awesome. Let's move on to the next item, Rejuvenating Heart.
And this is one of our new ones.
One of the new ones that I just promised.
Again, as Clumsy mentioned, this is in a new tree, no longer in the staff tree. I believe is what it was
2450.
previously called.
So pretty.
This is now a different
nice
tree.
base stats for
and this is another tier 3
2450.
in that tree. And so Rejuvenating Heart is another option that healers go to. But this one is a nice little mix for our magical characters that they can get more healing the more active they are in combat. So specifically, the passive here is that successfully hitting enemy gods with basic attacks and abilities provides stacks of healing dealt, increased healing dealt.
Exactly.
So you can have up to 8 of these stacks, and so depending on whenever you use that next ability heal, specifically ability heal, want to keep that clear. Doesn't work on like meditation, doesn't work on pots, any of that stuff. It will increase that healing dealt. So whichever person that you hit with your heal, whether it's yourself, whether it's all your teammates, it will consume those stacks. Then you'll go back to 0, have to build it up again.
It's kind
so it'll help you
weird
in a team fight build up to maybe a burst heal, a slightly bigger burst
Exactly.
heal. Okay, I like that a lot. Cool. Let's move on to another item. Last
the
gasp.
stats and the people that can use it effectively are going to be very
This one is not going to be increasing your
weird.
healing power, your healing dealt. This one's going to give more utility or offensive effects. Like I said, we want to make sure that healing characters or
That's
characters
a lot
who
of power.
splash into healing have different ways and different options
That's all
to
the
affect our
BG.
gameplay. So for this one, after healing an allied god specifically, so not yourself, with an ability, you gain magical power based on how much missing health they have.
Yep.
So the lower and lower health that your ally has at the time of heal.
Now
the more
that
magical power
item
you have.
is sick.
Huh, okay. So if you're clutch healing somebody, all of a sudden
That
you're a lot
item
stronger
is
for that
very
time
good.
period.
For a good period of time.
I also I love how the name of the item works into the effect of it. too.
Forget
Just
about the
chef's
last
kiss on
item.
that.
That's
Cool. So next
an
up,
item
we just
right
talked about this. I'm
there.
going to call it the Caduceus Club because that sounds like a fun way to say that.
That's a thickum.
Yeah, so CAD Club, now we're transitioning from magical to physical. This is our new
Welcome back.
physical
Welcome
healing
back,
training.
CAD Club.
So CAD Club is
We
getting a
missed
bit of a
you.
rework here to make sure it's along the same lines of Rhodopus Clepius, but one thing that we wanted to
Kind of
really
some weird
emphasize here is that
stats,
it is
but
a
not
little
bad.
bit different. So it's still got that
It's a
healing
pretty
increase,
catch-all
right? It
stat
has
item.
that
Little health, little
core
power,
pillar,
little MP5,
but
little
instead
CDR.
of, yes, for yourself, again, healing dealt. Important.
And no
Remember
longer
that.
like aura-based effect.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. So
Well,
that
for healing.
yes, that is for you. For the aura though, allied gods within 70 units. This is a little bit bigger.
Exactly.
And
Has
increase healing by
CCR and
30
increased
for
movement
you.
speed. It's a small amount. but
And
it's definitely
allied gods
noticeable,
have
right?
CCR
is
and
very
movement
powerful
speed?
stats. So
That's
we
a
wanna make sure
lot.
that if we're giving people these stats, we gotta make sure that it's a little bit of time. But it's very, very fun to play with this item, play
Wow.
around your healing.
That's a
because
lot
you're gonna
of
be giving
stats,
out
bro.
more. And
Hercules,
you're also kind
Guan
of being the
Yu.
leader of the charge, right?
True.
Because anyone around you
Horus.
is going that little bit faster.
Yeah.
So y'all move
That's-
together.
that's a
you're gonna be
lot of
faster,
stats.
and you're gonna be taking less CC duration.
Yep.
because of that reduction.
Also, these items being in new trees, definitely keep an eye out for their stats, which may have
Yes,
been
of
reworked
course.
as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Again,
Sleepiest
all of the
without that
patch
movement
notes.
speed. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Super cool. All right, well, let's keep going on.
Well, these
with the
items have not
Vital
been underwhelming,
Amplifier.
that's for sure.
Right, Battle Amplifier is an interesting one. So for the physical tree, we kind of have one more healing-oriented
this is
item,
a
two more
weird-ass item.
offensive or utility-focused items. So this
Power,
one's definitely playing around with
attack
that. So you've got some
speed,
physical
health,
power. I
and
want to mention the stats as
MP5.
well. 20% attack speed.
Whoa.
Also, after
That's good,
healing
that's a big
yourself or an allied god, so a little bit
Whoa.
different than the magical version as well.
Yeah.
You gain 10% attack speed and 5% basic attack damage for a short period of time, but stacking up to 3 times. And this doesn't have an internal cooldown. So if you have like a multi-tick heal, like Chalk, or if you're healing repeatedly, or you're healing multiple allied gods and yourself, you're getting that stack very, very
Yeah,
quickly,
right
and getting
off the
this
rip.
bonus effect
Got it.
very, very quickly.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Chalk. I'm thinking like Thanatos if you're getting
Yeah,
souls from the
right.
wave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters that can utilize this item really, really
That's
well.
what's
For
really
sure.
interesting is like we mentioned, is that even if you are splashing into healing, if you're not a traditional healer for
Yep.
any of these,
The
you might
only
consider some
person
of
that
these
I can
items
think
that
of
don't
that
just
would
increase your
love
healing
it
dealt for these splash effects.
Yeah.
Guan Yu
Off
feels
the
like a good choice
bat
for
is
that.
like
Amaterasu, I think, is the one that we've seen a lot of
AMA.
success.
That's
Speaking
what I
of,
was
the next
going
one's
to say is
True.
AMA.
How about we check it out
Maybe
then?
a
We check out
couple
Sekhmet's
others that
Scepter.
really
Oh, yeah.
feels
this,
like
this one's
AMA.
incredibly fun for those spammers. This is the kind of character that you want to consider this item for. So Sekhmet's Scepter, again, has the power, health, MP5, but this one's
Power,
got
health,
CDR on it, so
CDR.
really good for like Guan
Some
Yu,
kind
as
of
you
some
mentioned.
weird
So this
stats
one
on
has
these
very,
weapons.
very fun passive.
Not
where
bad,
After
just
healing
weird.
yourself, so in the instance of Guan Yu, let's just use him as our example here.
Okay,
You
sure.
press 1. You've healed yourself. Now you have a period of 6 seconds where each time that you damage an enemy god, you reduce your cooldowns. But there's also an internal cooldown on that proc. So,
Okay.
for instance, you've got the 6-second window, but every 0.5 seconds, if you're damaging in that time period, you'll get that extra 0.5 proc. So you're basically taking the time and then returning the time back and forth with that. So overall, you can get that 3-second decrease if you're on it every single time.
Yeah.
But again, you've got to be on it. So Guan Yu, a lot of abilities, able to proc that pretty
I was about to
easily
say,
if
just
you
start
are
spinning.
keeping
Yeah,
damaging.
One Tallow Assault and you're pretty
Yeah,
much
Tallow
there,
Assault's got
almost.
it locked
Yeah.
in.
This is a super fun item with those characters that
Yeah.
really want to play up those cooldown refreshes because that's exactly what this one's for.
That
Awesome.
seems like
That
a
sounds super
very
fun, and we're
difficult
gonna keep
item
moving
to
on
use
with the next item,
Ooh.
Erosion.
outside
So
of
this
like
kind of
literally
is
Guan.
a new category that we're talking about. So now we're
Okay.
kind of
Have to play around with
adjacent
it.
to the healing. And this is a new effect that we're adding to the game to several different places.
Erosion.
Where
I
it's
like the card
future
art.
shield health reduction.
Yep.
So what people,
Got it.
the community have desired is, while one already in the game, we have ways to decrease current shields that are already on people, right? You have Sunder, you have the Ankhs as well. But now you're going to have new methods of debuffing the enemies so that if a shield is going is applied to them afterwards, it's actually going to be reduced in its effectiveness.
Okay.
So it's affecting any future shield. So erosion,
forward thinking.
exactly, is kind of just the standard archetype item for this. So the passive, every time an enemy within
counters
units
to
gains a shield, you gain
Nike
movement
and
speed.
Shell
Again, the
in
aura is kind of the
general.
archetypal part here, where any shields applied on enemy gods within a small area just has it reduced by 30%.
Yes.
That's
so
interesting.
You have this around. Odin pops his shield.
Yeah.
It's already reduced by 30% on like first activation.
On launch. All right. That's awesome. It
That's
kind
a
of works
cool
like
item.
like
Specifically counter item that you would build situationally. Those are great.
A great
and then
use case.
You
again,
can
the fun here
see
going
where
back
it would be
the aura
useful.
was the most
You
important
can
part here. It's kind of
picture
like Pestilence with
it
its
as a
aura.
counter item,
The active
but you
component is every
wouldn't
time an
buy
enemy
it every
does proc
game.
shield, you gain
That's
movement speed
good
effect as well.
item design.
So you're kind of getting, we're already
That
kind of
item,
developing this
really
item
well designed.
the way we do new items already, which is
I
the
should buy
aura
it against
effect,
this
passive
specific
effect.
character
And again,
in this
this sounds
situation.
very
It's gonna be
scary
good.
for our shield-dependent characters like our Odins, our
Really good
Nikes.
point.
But
That's what
this
you
has
want
a,
items
again,
to
a very
be.
small radius.
Not a,
30
this item
radius.
is so
if
OP,
you
I'm buying
want
it every
to
game and not
intentionally
thinking
take
about
those shields down, you
You
gotta
know?
be pretty close to
gotta
them.
be
You're
in
within
there.
striking distance, so it's not just a free, I'm getting rid of all your shields forever. You're gonna be a little bit in danger here to get rid of them.
Right, exactly. And you might see some of those characters who require it getting a little bit of extra
Yes, that's
shifts.
important too. We'll be addressing some of that a little bit later.
Getting to that shortly then. Then we'll continue forward. Looks like a bit of a passive shift for Gem of ISO.
Yeah, so up next, still staying on the shielding topic, we're just adding this, debuff effect onto some of the other items in the game for various classes. We want to make sure that people that aren't really looking to buy defense in that erosion, because that is, again, in the gem tree.
Yeah.
They have other options as well. So one of those options is going to be Gem of Isolation, where they have that applied on the slow debuff as well. So that is one of those items, as well as the next one being Envenom Deathbringer.
Yep.
Which also has that same effect, where for those characters that are buying this Deathbringer, you also have that additional future shield reduction effect. So those two kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
We just kind of want to spread the shield reduction love, or I guess hate, equally.
We love reducing them. We hate the shields. I don't know. It's
Yes,
good, yeah.
and the important part to consider here is when in the game you're getting these items as well, because for instance, Erosion is a little bit easier to purchase in the early game, where Gem of Isolation and Venom Deathbringer, those are more luxury items, right? So for those characters, they're not going to be able to go into it right away, but they could prioritize it if they feel like shields are especially difficult to deal with into whatever team comp they're against.
Yeah, if you lose draft against shields, then you have a path you can go to help settle it out.
Also, quick note on Venom Deathbringer. We know, so obviously this being the glyph spot, a little bit more niche, it's also getting a trade-off too. It's getting the damage dealt component removed off of this one, so we're not just adding the effects, and you might see that somewhere else.
Yep.
Cool.
Coming up.
Well, I mean, we've talked about a lot of different healing items. As we kind of move on to the rest of the items, is there anything else that you wanted to go over within the purviews of how
Definitely
we're changing
interesting
healing,
so far.
Or, I mean, do we
no
cover
way
it
to
good?
know how
Y'all
everything's going to
always
be,
cover things good, I
I
with these
think
types of
the most
changes
important thing
without
here
playing,
going on is
but-
that what we're going to go into next, but also you can see in the patch notes, is just a whole bunch of items. You basically expect, like if you see life steal, if you see healing, it's going to be getting a certain amount of reduction.
Yeah.
So we're not going to go into all of it now, but on the patch notes, definitely have a look, because it's a whole bunch of different items.
It is, and I always recommend looking at the patch notes for this, because they are a treasure trove of information so that you can start preparing for the Season of Hope. So we'll keep moving on through items, moving into shards and relics in that kind of area. And it seems like overall there was some nerfs happening in that area.
So that's kind of what I wanted to preempt in the previous section, is that like right now we're going to breeze through a couple of things. We're going to be pinpointed on a couple of other ones. But for these ones specifically, Claw Shard, the Meditations, and Sundering Siphon, they all have healing effects. They've all been reduced.
Got it. Yeah. Again, the goal of the season is to take healing and
that's
tweak
what they
it.
did.
Whether
They
that's
said 30% less.
reductions
Those
here,
got
additions
things,
of new
30%
abilities
less.
there.
Checks
so
out.
overall, good stuff.
And we might be breezing through these, but I do also want to shout out that after this patch note show, we are going to be doing a designer Q&A. If you guys have questions about any of these specifics, hold those questions for now. We'll be there later to answer them, but this is just kind of an overview, and then feel free to ask us questions in that next section.
Yeah, so actually, we'll just throw this in real quick, and I'll mention it again at the end. But yeah, right after this, we got the art show. For those of you who didn't see it ahead, don't worry, it's still here. We got the art show coming immediately after. And then once the art show ends, like Lermy just said, we have an incredible show where they're going to answer questions, go into the patch a little more in depth than what we're doing here. For those of you who want to stay in, ask your questions, and really get all those juicy details. So we got y'all covered.
There's a lot of changes.
One more thing on the different types of change that we're doing, including for these nerfs we talked about for shards and relics, and going forwards for gods or for the other items. You're going to see a lot of times where there's going to be just strict nerfs, right? Just strict, the healing has been stripped off of these things.
Yeah.
And some gods or characters or items or abilities, whatever it may be, may get shifts in comparison.
Yeah.
The the designers have basically chosen which ones get shifts, which one gets buffed based on either their performance, based on data, based on their perception, based on a lot of different attributes. And there are going to be times where there's going to be just strict nerfs, and you might be going like, hey, you know, that item or whatever it may be is not really doing so well, and either or is doing really well, and it could have gotten further nerfs. And either, again, we're looking at the data, we're looking at the perception to base our decisions around those, or it's also a good opportunity to just do some meta shakeups, right?
Yeah,
so there's some things that you might have expected even larger nerfs for. There's so much change going on that, you know, who really is going to predict what's going to happen in a few weeks' time? Once
Clumsy, you don't gotta pave the way like this for me. You just tell me what you're cutting out of the game and what you're throwing in, and I'm down.
Stabilizing, but I was going to say months at first, but you know what?
You don't got to caveat it for me. We're all good.
We had those math wizards out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, I think this is a great area also to point out, like, for those of you who didn't know what we meant by 4 seasons in a year, 4 seasons in a year. We kicked off the season with Surtur and everything huge. We're into the second season, Season of Hope, and there's a lot of stuff. Just, you know, imagine what will happen in season 3 and 4. That's all I got to say. All right, let's keep moving into starter items, all right? So, looks like Hunters, plenty of starter items getting tweaked around in there. I mean, I'll just let y'all dive into it then.
Yeah, so in general, this update has done a few things. It's addressing a lot of the healing stuff, but also,
I was wondering what they're
kind
going
of
to
like
do
we
at
talked about. I
Destiny.
know AJ was here earlier. There's a little bit of shift between Hunters and Mages and ADC Mages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of shifts that may be, you know, providing actually incidental buffs to a lot of Hunters.
Yeah.
So we want to be very, very careful with their starter items and upgrades as well as taking this as a good opportunity to shift things around because, you know, they maybe have had a bit of a static gameplay style. So Death Toll being like that quintessential provides a lot of healing.
Of course.
There's going to be some new things going on there, specifically on the upgrade. So one, Death Toll is going to be increasing its physical power, going to be decreasing its health, so it's a bit of a shift there.
Yeah.
Right? We talk about some places getting shifts, but also Death's Embrace is getting kind of a spicy change here. So, well, the health is being reduced. We talked about that. But now when you hit an enemy with your basic attacks, you will also start reducing your active non-ultimate ability cooldowns by a very, very short amount. But that's happening without an internal cooldown.
Awesome. So, yeah, it'll just keep going, and if you're really landing those attacks, awesome. That's really cool. That's a lot. So, I mean, yeah, let's keep going with it. There are more changes to more items, and yeah, let's dive into the next one.
Yeah, so we've also got Death's Temper, which is getting a buff as well, and then we're also moving into the Cowls, which have been a little bit out of the meta, you might say. It's been a bit of a Death Toll world for a little bit, as you might say, at least for our Hunters that aren't picking up Bluestone, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So they're also getting a couple of shifts for Leather Cowl, mostly buffs, but again, taking away a little bit of that lifesteal potential.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
When we see the shifts, you know, we'll be sure to clarify, you know, which direction it's going. For Leather Cowl in specific, we know that it's been out of the meta. We're trying to give it a little bit more of that up versus a lot more of that down, like for Death Toll.
Cool, and it looks like we're kind of ending with the arrows, actually, and a buff to Diamond Arrow.
Yeah, Arrow's not as much sustain going on there, so it's really kind of just on the buff side of things. We've got a little bit more gold generation from Guild there. We obviously want to be very, very narrow on that one because we know how that can start breaking the game.
That can make a lot of money.
Some health and spicier. We've got some penetration, physical and magical for Diamond Arrow.
That's exciting.
That might change a lot of different playstyles, but it's on the upgrade, so you know you've got to work your way over there.
Yeah, it's something that you'll get to, but you're not going to start with.
And then Ornate Arrow getting some basic attack damage as well as some critical strike chance increases. So some decently sized buffs for the entry. Again, with no healing at all affecting them, these are just straight buffs.
Yeah, it's just straight up a good time. All right, well, let's move into jungle starters. And it looks like all of these are seeing, there's some shifts and then some buffage going on across basically, a lot of them, across the Bombas and the Mannequin stuff for sure, and then Seer of Jungle a little bit.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of interesting stuff going on in the jungle. We've been seeing some people going, we've been seeing some people going Bluestone, and we're not necessarily against people going different items in the jungle, but we did want to make sure that because the general jungle starter items are focused a lot around that sustain and how they're keeping it into making sure they can, you know, keep jungling efficiently. We wanted to make sure that they're also getting a little bit more value on top of that because we've seen that, you know, jungling might not be as difficult as it used to be considering there just weren't as many camps before. Well, again, we also fixed a little bit of that going on in the conquest changes themselves, but we want to address that with the items as well.
Yeah, so for almost every jungle item, starter item, they always have some sort of health restore component. So basically you're expecting the shifts there, you're getting a little bit of power back in compensation. And then specifically for the Eye of the Jungle Tree, you're getting just kind of some strict buffs.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds like an
I
excellent,
have the jungle tree
excellent shift up. And again, the jungle's just been a
buffs.
crazy place. So seeing the shifts there, you know, between those harpies and the new Cyclops camp, there's just a lot of movement and shaking.
Exactly.
So let's move into solo lane now. Solo lane been not. I mean, I play solo lane. It can be an island sometimes. So there's a lot of changes happening there, not only with conquest but with the items. I mean, and Bluestone right off the bat, getting some touching. It looks like a little bit of nerf actually.
Good.
Yeah, this item has been showing up across the board in 3 different roles, you'd argue.
It's
almost
been
4
good.
if you're going to count mid there.
It's been doing good.
So we want to just make sure that we're adjusting it accordingly. Of course, that
Bluestone's going to.
I guess. All right.
I'm sure. I'm just thinking about like my Red game
strats.
flashbacks.
Oh,
I'm like, you know
man.
what? There was definitely one.
Just the 5-stack Bluestones. It'll be fun.
Yeah, so we've been seeing this one doing a little bit of work. Again, this isn't really fall into that healing category, but we'll see that a little bit later. So we're touching Bluestone, getting a little bit of damage decrease on that. Bluestone Brooch, the upgrade, is also getting a decrease on the damage dealt, the base, and the health percentage. And then, of course, we get to move forward into our axes as they are getting the more healing-oriented change.
Yeah, and it looks like those are also kind of seeing a little bit of
More
nerfage.
damage.
Yeah. So we were talking about healing. We're talking about hunters. Another kind of subcategory of nerfs is just proc damage.
Yeah.
You know, we see the community sentiment that proc damage is a little bit high, and you know, we don't disagree.
Yeah.
We did address some of that in I think a previous bonus bounce between like Heartseeker, Tableau of Destinies. You know, we've gone back and forth on that one a little bit, and you know, we're obviously going to keep in mind where we are. In this current state, regardless of how this season does with healing, proc damage is something that we're definitely going to keep an eye on. So there's a few different things. For solo lane specifically, it's going to be the Bluestone, it's going to be the Warrior's Axe, but we're going to come back to that exact bullet point a little bit later, and just something that I wanted to kind of mention overall now, so that if you think that we skipped anything, if you see there's any proc damage items that we didn't address in this patch specifically, which we did do quite a few, then, you know, we are probably going to be considering it for future patch.
We're keeping an eye on it.
Always looking down the road. Like it's crazy how many things can happen right now, and then you ask, wow, so are you guys like winding down because you just finished this big thing? It's like, no. What does that even mean? You're
always chugging forward.
Always chugging forward. So continuing to chug forward, we have physical lifesteal items. And starting off with Evolved Devourer's Gauntlet, kind of getting a bit of a shift
This
around.
one is
so what is
very,
Devo's
very
gonna
fun.
get?
We've seen a bit of an Aussie meta, and that's really cool because Aussie got an awesome change going into the Season of Monsters. I thought that was a really
more
fun
power,
nose
5
shake
more
up there because we
pet.
had been seeing Devos dominating a little bit before.
70,
and now it's going to be a little bit
15,
equalized, right? Where the
15.
lifesteal component is not as different as it was before. I would say you still get that really awesome burst from Aussie, but with Evolved Devos, you're now getting even more power and more flat pen. 15 flat pen on Evolved Devos, which is
15 flat pen is a big deal.
It's pretty
hunters.
exciting
That's
there.
interesting.
And again,
Especially,
kind of like we
but we got to
mentioned,
see the Aussie change first.
There's going to be some shifts on a couple of things. We knew for physical lifesteal, like you said, is kind of dominated by Aussie. But where does Devourer's Gloves and some of these other items live in a world where lifesteal is just worse? Right? And we're going to see that same exact question with the magical tree as well. If lifesteal is just worse, and some of these items are basically their only identity is lifesteal, how can we kind of shore that up? So the Evolved Devourer's Gauntlet's getting the power into the pen, but also Dev Gloves is getting that a little bit of love too. In fact, you're going to be getting that physical penetration per stack as you're gaining the stats.
As you're building it up to evolution.
Yeah.
And then that bonus.
So it's going to be a nice, smooth increase.
Yep. And then, you know, Bloodforge, another one of those items. A little bit more simpler there. We're going to just be giving it some attack speed,
which is
first
crazy
time,
for
new stat
Bloodforge.
for that item. And then there's going to be quite a few items as well
That's
that are going to be getting straight nerfs for now, and then we can readdress later on how they fall into the meta.
And again, even if we're not saying that these items specifically are getting healing nerfs, they're almost always on the graphic here that we have on screen, thanks to our wonderful production members. For that, these are all getting healing adjusted. If you see it on the screen there, if we're talking about lifesteal, it's going down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's so, and again, all on the update notes. We didn't want to talk about every little thing, so we kind of cherry picked some of the bigger ones or some of the ones that we thought were more important. But there's a lot more than meets the eye to this.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for that one item somewhere that we missed, like the tier 2 with lifesteal that we forgot to bring it down from like 3 to 2%.
Y'all will let us know. There will be people DMing me like, "Hey, you spelled this wrong." I mean, it's hard. Listen, you can unlock your scroll wheel, flick it, and then like I don't know, go bake a cake and come back, and then you'd hit the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take that.
It's a beefcake of an item again.
All right, so a lot of stuff in physical lifesteal. Let's move on to magical lifesteal as well. And we would just, I guess, there's kind of a note here at the beginning to talk a little bit about mage ADC nerfs in general. So what's the vibe with that?
Right. So we talked a little bit earlier with like purple buff being changed, the mage ADC stuff. We had some arrow changes before that kind of were like bug fixes and quality of life from previously. Mage ADCs we've seen with this new season, with this new year, kind of overtaking hunters a little bit, which has also been kind of interesting, right? It's like no mages or mage ADCs, only like double hunters going into the end of the last year. And it's like where are the hunters gone? We saw a couple of them in the tournaments. Yeah, and then we saw a lot of mage ADCs.
That quick 180.
Between all the changes that we've made previously and specifically here,
Bloodforge and Duo,
a couple of mage ADC
nerfs.
There's also going to be just more shifts like we talked about. So the mage ADCs and the god list, once we get to there, they may not be getting as many buffs as they could in compensation for their lifesteal and healing nerfs. So that's kind of one thing. But also, two, mage ADCs tend to rely on lifesteal almost as like an archetype of their item build paths.
Yeah.
Now, whether it's the rings, whether it's like Bancrofts or Typhons or the glyphs there, we understand that they specifically, the 4 or 5 of them that are out there, or that build path, if you want to just build Poseidon as a mage ADC, because you technically can, are probably going to be relying on lifesteal. So, we have very much kept that in mind when thinking about the fact that we want to be careful with how much we nerf them. Because we're hitting kind of like 3 different ways of nerfing them all at the same time. We don't want to like double or triple down on anything specifically.
Awesome. Well, good to know moving forward, and moving forward we are, with Typhon's Fang getting a little bit of a change up, like a lot of things.
This is like the quintessential lifesteal item. Other than Bancrofts, this item does amplify your lifesteal proportionally. So this is like the item to adjust basically for all of our lifestealing
20% better.
So the cost is going down quite dramatically.
And it's cheaper.
Gold. But it's also going to be losing that 10% healing from lifesteal, as well as 5% lifesteal itself. So those changes are really impactful, which means that we're also going to increase the penetration from 10% to 20% to make sure that those mages that are wanting to build more into that lifesteal to get that extra
that's a good ass item, man.
Are able to at least kind of compete. Because again, this is losing a lot of that extra flair that it once had because of the brawling
with a
mechanics.
Bancroft's Typhons,
but
now
again,
that
it's
he's
getting
walking
a
at
lot
you
of
and spraying.
really awesome compensation between that cost, between the power, and between the pen increase. That this is going to be
seems
pretty
interesting to me.
New mage 20% pen item. It's just kind of just like an interesting thing to think about.
This patch notes are so long. I got to pee so bad.
One, even with
we're
healing
like into the
being
juicy
reduced,
bits
definitely could change the way mages build.
Yeah, get the build path all shook up. Excellent. So there are other things if you want to kind of rattle off some of the other changes.
Guys, talk about some skins again or something.
Between like Tel'Kine's Ring, Poly, Spear of the Magus, the Trinket Tree completely. Whether it's Pythag, Soul Gem, the Bancrofts with the glyphs in mind. Bancrofts is kind of another one that's kind of built alongside Typhons or even specifically.
Time to get the cheese
especially with the glyphs in mind for mage ADCs. That one's also getting a little bit of a spicier shift with the floor actually being increased for when you're gaining like the max benefits of the power and the lifesteal. So that one, you may not have to go all the way down to like death territory to actually maximize.
Still very good in 1v1s though.
So that one's kind of exciting.
Good trade item. All right, well, cool stuff. And again, all of the stuff on update notes, y'all know this. I'm beating it into the ground. So let's get into some more general balance. Obviously, a lot of what we focus on is healing related because that's the theme, but there is some general balance in here as well. Starting with the way the teleport fragment works, actually. So teleport's just kind of in general getting a nerf, it looks like.
Right.
So
I feel like we're addressing so many different subsects of like
it's all over the place.
So we were just talking about healing, right? Healing is now in a box. We're putting the box over here. Let's talk about solo.
Let's talk about solo
lane. We're in the solo lane section.
There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff in healing as well. It's going to have massive implications for the solo lane.
That's across
So
the
we're
map.
going to just address a few things here, which is making sure that solo lane feels interesting. Teleport may seem like a small thing, but just we've seen the prevalence
kind
being
of
extremely high.
boring
The rate for teleport being extremely high. So we just want to make sure that there's a little bit less safety and always getting freely back to your lane via teleport. We know that we'll have some knock-on effects for like casual players like me. I buy it regardless of whether it's in meta or not. Because I don't know what I'm doing. I just want to get back to lane.
I'm gonna get poked out. I want to get back. Exactly.
Yeah. The important thing to note here is that this is to increase the diversity of what we see. For those players that are confident in their laning abilities, or they picked an early game character, you don't necessarily need to go teleport. You could invest into an option like a Shell or a Med or even something like a Bracer if you're really feeling like you want to just pump out that damage and try and kill the enemy.
Between like teleport, between the map changes that I think we talked about, if not, it's on the patch note show with Totem of Ku and the Aura and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A few other small things like, I'm going to go into Oni Hunter's Garb, where we've done a shift here. We've increased the health, but we've decreased the damage mitigation per stack. Because another thing that's alongside all of this is the mitigation argument that we've addressed a little bit before, and we're going to keep our eyes on continuously.
Increase
is how much
health, but
mitigation is
decrease mitigation.
Yeah, that's something that you
4
might
to
see
3.
a little
Ooh,
bit more
that's
in future
that's a
updates.
big nerf.
But just another place we're going to be shifting the mitigation, and kind of the last thing here is Frostbound Hammer and Runeforged Hammer, kind of being tweaked items that we did in Season 1 are actually going to get buffed up.
Runeforged
Because
buff, though.
one thing to make sure is that if it seems like a lot of warriors, a lot of soul laners are going very high defensive items kind of to start out their builds. So we want to make sure that there's a lot of good comparative offensive items. So if you want to, if you see the enemy going kind of like a breastplate or something early, you want to go kind of Runeforge and go more of an aggressive build.
Yeah.
You have that option to kind of bully them out for a little period of time before you flex your build paths.
Yeah, and especially considering the changes to teleport and all the value that you get in those camps as well, it's going to be more important than ever.
Harpies and like
there's so much.
There's so many things.
There's so many like side changes there that we want to kind of again do a few different things and different methods to kind of affect each part of the game.
Yeah, we're looking at it holistically here and trying to make sure that every aspect is getting adjusted.
Can't imagine that solos are too excited right now.
Packaging up solo lane, putting that box over here. Let's get into a little bit of general ADC stuff with Failnaught having a bit of a change.
Yeah, so this is we kind of preempted a little bit earlier in Venom Deathbringer losing that kind of 10% damage output debuff, and it's actually going to be going on the Mark of Failnaught.
Okay.
So Failnaught, an item that I mean. It's slightly niche depending on what character you are. I was like getting on like Dunsborough or Cupid.
Hey, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's going to get a little bit of that. It's a small buff. Really, that's where it is.
Small buff, and along with some other things was like Transcendence, Demon Blade, Weighted Boomerang, Griffin Wing, all kind of also getting some shifts. A lot of buffs actually, really. So
yeah, mostly buffs for our hunters. I mean, we've heard you guys feel like hunters are in
Griffin. What the?
Not so great spot, and we see the data to support that as well. So we want to make sure that you guys are getting a lot more to play with here. And it could be any of these items, or again, that shield reduction coming onto Venom Deathbringer.
So all kinds of different, again, approaching from all the angles. So moving on to the friend of the ADC, we have the support and heroism getting a little bit of a touch up.
Yeah, I mean, if you buy heroism on my team, you will be my best friend. So this is just
got the
kind of getting a buff to go in line with the other support star items that get extra gold per 5 when you upgrade them. So this is more so of a fix than really a buff.
Shield reduction.
Both of these guys getting that.
Added to them.
Yep.
Cool. And then we continue the trek onward, and we're getting into now a little bit more of general balance. And well, for mage, I guess we've been doing that for everybody, but now we're in the mage realm, going to that mid lane, and we're looking at Divine Ruin. Having some power scaling changes around.
Right. So this is kind of that other side of the proc damage coin that we were talking about. Where we saw that on warriors and solo laners a lot
Divine
more.
Was
Mages
a
are the other kind of
little
class
over
that's been
2.
utilizing
That's
that
fair.
a lot. And then there's also kind of just this argument between where are mages strong. Once they get their Book of Thoth and Tablet of Destinies online, but then we've kind of nerfed those builds, and where can we play around with mage builds is kind of where the question is. So two things here, Divine Ruin and Soul Gem are going to get the proc damage decreased. And we wanted to make sure that they have mages as a whole kind of get a few new things to play around with, or a few old things to play around with again. So Doom Orb kind of getting some buffs there. It's a little bit of shift technically.
That's a big buff.
Yeah, it's a big buff here. So you're going to be the mana's going to be
Whoa.
removed. We're adding 10% magical penetration, and we're increasing that base movement speed from 4% to 6%. And then there's a couple of other
Ron Poseidon loved this.
Perfected Rod of Tutti, just a glimpse. Tier 2 of Doom Orb being Cursed Orb, as well as Spirit of Desolation, all getting buffs. Mostly again to just make sure that if we're moving away from proc damage, if that's the thing that has made mages a little bit too strong, we're giving them kind of new things to shore up what weaknesses they may have, especially with all the hunter.
You know what those item buffs are? Those are in-con mid lane buffs.
We don't want mages to be too powerful. We don't want anybody to be too powerful. It's just all about the harmony and the balance.
More things to try, more toys to play with. Trying to build. You might like this Doom Orb build. We've had a lot of fun testing it at least. It's been a bit since we've seen any Doom Orbs, so maybe now's the time.
Little Doom Orb action. All right, well, cool. So that's done it for items. Again, as y'all might have noticed, we didn't get in depth with every single one of them. We shared some very important things, but there's a lot of info you can still go read in the update notes. But we got some gods to talk about now. And the first god, who has been, I imagine a lot of y'all have thought about this, a hot topic for a healing update, and that's Aphrodite. There are a ton of changes here to Aphrodite. It looks like most abilities are getting a touch in one way or another, so let's just dive right into it.
Yeah, so Aphrodite, again, is like our, what would you call it, our poster healer?
Yeah,
poster child for our healers.
So a couple, I feel like you could just do like I don't know if it's a bingo card, a tally of me just interrupting her like, before we get into this,
but
Clumsy's preamble.
All right, go on.
Clumsy's preamble section is, a few of these gods that we're starting with are going to be kind of like the assault healer tier list, we can almost call it.
Yeah,
Right? Like that's how you guys would see it. For us, it's really just like the best healers of the game. So whether it's the tier 1 healers being kind of like Aphrodite and Hell, going down, I think Emoji's in there as well. Tier 2 healers. The first section of this is going to kind of be in that order, and we are going to go through, I think, all tier 1 and tier 2 healers, unlike what we did for items where we kind of just breeze through. And then later on, we might just breeze through and just kind of pick out the most interesting ones. So
sure,
Aphrodite being one of our best healers.
Yes.
For sure.
Okay, so shall we begin with the list? All right.
Indeed.
So some of you may have seen on Twitter yesterday a little spoiler
spoilers,
moment.
yes.
Kiss now does damage to gods only, which is a very exciting change. This again will,
Minions get no love.
Minions get no love, man.
Not even a little bit.
Sorry, little guys. Maybe next time. Not today. Aphrodite's getting a lot of other
Up to
change on top of
120,
this one.
huh?
So
A lot.
damage,
25%.
number 1. She also shares 50% of her MP5 and 20% of her physical and magical protections with her soulmate instead of sharing the mana regeneration, which is very, very cool. I think this is a really interesting direction to take her, especially for those who are building a little bit tankier Aphrodite. Support Aphrodite,
kind
not
of trying to
trolling
take her into an Afro
Perhaps.
support room.
Like we said, the more
Like a shadow
the more
queue
you kind of
action.
relied on healing before, whether it was for yourself or for your allies,
Yes.
the more changes you're going to get. And these two, specifically these two tier 1 healers, are going to get the largest amount of that because we wanted to make sure that if you identified yourself as only an Aphrodite healer, now you have just new ways of playing Aphrodite that doesn't just rely on that playstyle so heavily.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, now the Link's teammate getting MP5, which again kind of was what you had before with the mana restoration. It's kind of just an easier way of doing that now.
Yeah, it's more consistent.
It's more consistent. You're not just doing like weird burst like meditation plays or something like that. And the protections. That's just one of the few ways now that she's varied her playstyle.
There's more. Let's move on to ability number 3, Love Birds, because we've got a change on this as well where the heal's going down. Of course, talked about that. No more magical scaling as well. But this ability now provides a flat 0.25 second ability cooldown reduction per tick to self and allies, including on this ability.
Yes. So this, for herself, this is just a flat cooldown reduction. On this ability, it's 2. So, we specifically, I want to call this out because I know we could question this.
That's
We
a strong
specifically
buff.
didn't increase the cooldown on this ability to compensate for the cooldown reduction it's getting, but that was kind of purposeful. It seemed like a good area to just buff.
Yeah,
just
that's real good.
And again, we're keeping an eye on this as well because this is a really spicy change, but we're excited to see what kind of plays that you guys make with things like that. But that's not all. We've still got more.
That's not all. How about we talk about some more?
Oh yeah, we've got ultimate time, undying love. So kind of to change up the thought process here a bit. So using your kiss on a non-ally while you're linked to an ally provides a buff of jealousy.
Yes.
And that increases your power. So yeah, we have an additional way to obtain jealousy other than going off and kissing someone else. Is you are able to do it when you ult as well. So not only is this a safety mechanic,
These
it's
are some
also
huge
a buff mechanic.
Afro buffs.
So jealousy will now refresh if it's already applied, or it will apply 5 seconds of it anytime that Aphrodite ults to herself and to her soulmate.
Yeah, that's really cool because it allows
cool.
you as the Aphrodite a way to gain the power buff without actually being linked to an ally.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
if you're just completely by yourself,
Afro
in the glade or wherever
everywhere,
you
as
may
far
be,
as the
and you
eye
just
can
pop your
see.
ulti, you're just getting solo jealousy.
Yeah.
It's just pretty good. It's a lot of power.
That is a lot of power. So
Smite
yeah, a lot of
Season
crazy
11.
changes going
Hope
on
you're
there.
picking a
We have a lot
healer.
of changes with another healer as well. Hell, another popular in the healing space, having another.
But hold on, just one quick tiny last thing on the previous one. This is like it's not a preamble, it's like a post-amble.
A post-amble. All right.
As we mentioned, that magical power scaling and power scaling as a whole is going to be pretty much removed from all healing abilities. Only a few select healers, I think these are one of the only 2, are going to be gaining per level increases on their healing.
Yes.
So
Okay.
Lovebirds will be getting +2 per level. All the other gods in the game, for the most part, are actually just getting the per rank. So the best gods that required kind of demanded the most amount of healing are getting at least a little bit of compensation.
Okay, and it makes sense for those that were kind of built around healing to have that naturally.
What role
getting
will she
better
fit
healing
best
is
in
that
now?
whole thing. So
I think we're gonna see people try her
next
mid
up,
and
we have
support,
a
so
preamble
we'll
about
see.
Hell, and then we're going to talk about Hell.
Now, the preamble on Hell was the same one I did for Aphrodite, but I
You're gonna
guess
repeat yourself.
me saying this right now is like a clarification
All
of
right,
the
all
preamble.
right, all right.
So go
Almost
ahead.
like get into
So
it.
Hell again.
I need to be the one quiet here. So
Hell, again, another one of our poster shrines of healing, you might say. So she is getting a bunch of changes as well. First up, Stance Attunement, which is her passive. In the light stance now, instead of getting increased healing, you are now applying 8% power reduction to enemies in the area, which also scales up depending on how attuned you are
so
to
going
that
all the way
stance.
0 to 8%.
Yeah, 0 to
Okay.
8% to better clarify on that. This effect, again, scales up as you're attuned to the stance, but that is the first thing. The second thing is on Decay, which
That's
is
strong.
the Dark Stance 1 with the explosion. This now goes through
That's a
walls.
massive
Which
buff.
copies the same behavior as the Light Stance one.
Yep.
So
Okay.
gameplay-wise, they will now feel the same, which also, it's a buff, obviously, but it also just makes it feel a little bit more intuitive. You
It's
don't
a
need to be like, oh, I'm
massive
in
buff
this
is what
stance,
it is.
and it goes through walls, I'm in this stance, and it doesn't. Now it's doing the same thing.
Yep,
Okay,
exactly.
cool.
And speaking of doing the same thing, we've got the Light Stance 1, Restoration.
Restoration.
So, of course, heals going down here. You know, got to be
Now
clear on that, and also
damages
getting
and
the
passes
third level
through minions.
healing, like you mentioned, for Aphrodite
Provides
as well.
a
because this is
mana
so in tune with
heal
what Hell is,
to
get it,
self and
Stanza 2.
allies.
Anyway, this ability now also damages and passes through minions, as well as when you hit an ally with this ability, it gives you a mana heal on top of it. And that also mana heal can apply to the ally that you hit. But again, this mana heal is only when you hit an ally. This is not on hitting an enemy. You don't get any restoration for that. When you hit an ally, you yourself get the smaller heal, as well as this mana heal.
Yep.
Thank God you made it
so
hell.
Again, more ways of affecting others around you that aren't just
She's
healing, and
already
that's going to
pretty
be
good,
seen
man.
again in the next ability.
Yeah, and
Yes.
minions
We'll see
so
how
no
the
love. All right, cool. Nice
decreased
ability.
healing really
All right,
affects her, though.
are we ready for the third thing? The third thing,
third thing.
Inspire. Is that the third thing? No, that's actually the fourth thing. I'm really good at counting, everyone. Inspire. Of course, less healing here.
Yep.
But we are also doing that
Now
per
give
level
the attack
ability heal. This
speed.
is also affecting her minion heal. And additionally, the buff on yourself
20%
and
attack
allies now
speed.
includes a 20% attack speed buff for the duration of that heal over time,
Stay
the movement
schmovin'.
speed as well.
Yeah. So it's almost, depending on the circumstances, one would argue that it might be more important to proc that for the attack speed buff than it is for the heal
for the
itself.
healing,
So kind of just new ways to apply with that same gameplay.
Yeah, adds a second circumstance instead of just throw the heal out. It's now like, well, I could heal or I could pop it right away, get that auto attack.
Exactly.
So again, like you've been saying, alternate pathways. I like it. I like
Last
Healers
thing,
as
promise,
support
just one more
seems
thing.
to be
This one's
kind of
really
where
fun,
they're
though.
going.
This one is really fun.
Yeah.
So
A little bit.
switch stances, which is her ultimate ability, is now getting a decreased cooldown from 2 seconds to 1 second. And this is mostly to line up with our other stance switchers that have that 1 second cooldown. Elle had a 2 second cooldown, which made it a little bit more difficult for you to really get in that flow state. I know a lot of players of Hell will say, I'm just kind of pressing my buttons. Now you can press it a little bit faster going between those two stances. And this is really to mirror most of those other stance switchers like your RDOs and your Ulers and characters that already had that 1 second.
Awesome.
Consistent, but it's a buff. It'll feel good.
It does feel good. It does feel good.
It feel good.
They would know. These are our playtest gurus. So when they're like, it
It's
feels
true.
good, it's because they've tested it. So all right, well, cool. So we're gonna continue moving down the list. Yamoja, as to
right,
be
then.
expected,
All
giving
right,
some
Clumsy.
changes.
Oh,
in
there you
the
go.
crazy.
Now's your time.
There you go.
He's a crazy.
I'm trying to think how long I want my preamble to be here over my explanation.
Like 30 minutes or less.
Yamoja is the last of the tier 1 healers.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, when you compare Yamoja to Hell and Aphrodite, she actually relies on healing the least.
Yeah.
We've already changed kind of the healing amplification on her kind of passive basic attacks. The only thing she has is Mending Waters that does shielding as well as healing. You know, there were discussions on whether we even thought it would be as important to have this be a healing ability at all. Like maybe that's the shift we do and we just go crazier gameplay changes because Yamoja, obviously, you know, everyone at Hi-Rez on the design team, we're all well aware of how she performs.
The
right?
paradox.
The paradox that is
The
Yamoja.
paradox.
And so this, hopefully this will satisfy you guys. Maybe it won't, but all we're doing for Yamoja is actually going to be doing small healing decreases. Again, getting rid of that scaling. It's going to be a flat amount. She's not even going to be getting that per level increase. We're increasing her shield health. We're increasing the damage on the AO2. It's all very focused on the AO2.
Okay.
But on that second ability.
Okay.
But we really want to keep our eyes on her, and this is kind of our way of just saying, like, hey, you know, we are happy with Yamoja. We know that there's a world where she doesn't necessarily need heavy level reworks, but we are very, very curious to see in this new healing world how she actually shifts in her gameplay. Because again, she doesn't actually rely on healing as much as these other tier 1 healers.
Okay.
Obviously, it is important, but
That's fine.
there's going to be a lot of changes going on with all of healing, and let's see how this shakes out. Because again, it's not just the healing on her, but it's also with the world where the shield reduction effects are also going to be affecting Yamoja in a negative way.
Yeah.
So that's almost another nerf that we need to
see.
keep in mind of as well.
Yeah.
So,
Imagine casting
again,
your
this
2
is
on
just kind of
Yamoja.
our way on the design team to say, like,
1-1.
we understand Yamoja is an
1-1-1.
interesting point of contention.
Very much so.
And we're going to continue keeping
Only way.
extremely heavy eyes on her to see how the best way to move forward with her in future patches.
Cool. Awesome. Well, sounds good. And again, I mean, yeah,
How
like
much
with
did you miss?
everything,
You
we'll be
just
keeping an
did. You
eye
missed an
on
hour and a half of
how they work in
Bachelors.
the game, what the community feels, and the
And
feedback
I can't
we get
tell
from
if
y'all.
we've
So
made any
send it
progress
in.
on getting
Always
towards
an
the
incredibly
end.
valuable source of helping us fine-tune some of these crazy big changes. So,
And
nice.
I think that was important because some of these tier 2 healers are getting some really spicy
These
stuff,
are
and I
so
didn't
fun.
want anyone to think that we like forgot about Umoja
Yeah.
or anything like that. It just we wanted to make sure that before we do any crazy spicy changes to Umoja, we knew the right direction where she was going to live, because she's kind of just the hardest one to judge out of all of these.
For sure.
So let's get into some spicy tier 2
Woo!
here.
All
let's
right,
do it.
tier
And let's
1,
start with,
done.
Yeah, tier 1 done. Tier 2, Sylvanas. Let's go.
Let's start this by posing a question.
Question.
Does anyone remember Release Sylvanas?
Oh yes.
I remember Release
Are
Sylvanas.
Wisps gonna do damage to minions again?
Do you remember?
So, the change for Sylvanas here is that, of course, the Wisps are not going to be healing as much.
That's it, right?
But
Okay.
we have something special here. Wisps will now heal the minions.
They sure are.
Once
Love for
again,
the minions?
Once again, he is able to heal the minions, as was in years past. Oh my gosh, he's so old. I'm trying to remember when he came out, but that makes me feel old.
Pointing
Anyway,
out something or another, yeah.
so, for those who know the deeper breakdown of Sylvanas Wisps is that there is a burst heal at the beginning. Minions are not getting that, and they're also going to
Yes,
be,
that's
taking a little bit less than they normally would.
Sylvanas was the
I phrased that
ultimate
so
lane
weird.
winner
Players
because of this.
will be taking the most.
More
Minions will be taking less, and they also will not be getting that initial burst heal at the beginning.
Yep. And the enemy minions are going to be damaged too.
Yes.
So bringing
a little
that
bit of both.
bringing that spice in. But yeah, it's also for a very small amount. We definitely play tested with numbers. We play tested. If you're curious, we play tested with 50%, and that was pretty crazy because you're affecting so many more targets than you were previously.
Yeah, that's a
Also,
lot.
we thought about the passive. There was a world where all of the minions proc the passive.
That's a lot of seeds.
Yeah, Wisps specifically would have broken this. This entire change would have broken with that. So Wisps will not be procking the passive seeds, only for the minion hits, of course.
Yeah.
The new minion hits. That
Yes. Well, that was spicy.
Oh,
All right,
I
we
was
gotta keep
letting
moving.
Vance
It just gets, this
it
next
just
one's
keeps
really
going
spicy.
spicy. All right, Changa, what's the spicy change there?
All right, so some shifts here, obviously.
Yeah.
Moonflower Dance, we're going to be decreasing the healing. No longer getting the magical power scale. I'm going to keep saying that every time I can because that's
healing
pretty insane.
reduction.
Yeah.
But also, a little bit weird here is we're removing the healing reduction debuff. And I know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be a little bit sad about that, but we're shifting it to a completely new component, which one could argue is another component to our passive. But hey, that's the way it is. Where all of our damaging abilities will now be applying this new debuff to enemy gods, which increases Changa's damage dealt to them specifically with future abilities. Stacking up to 3 times.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's a new debuff replacing the healing reduction, where her 1, her 3, and her 4 will now be dealing extra damage every time you hit gods, with that debuff on them.
Yep.
Got it.
So first ability, not going to be doing anything new. It's just going to apply that debuff. But the more that you smack people, the more that you have cooldown as well,
Changa's
the
late game
faster that
healer
you're going to
is
be able to
decently
keep
thick,
up this
200
debuff
flat.
and keep that damage increase going. And again,
not
only
a bad heal
for
in this
Changa.
post-healing
Only for
different
Changa.
world.
Right, we're on the same page for that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't think it's
Only for
everyone on your
Changa.
team.
That would be a lot.
Yeah, that would be a bit much.
Cool. All right. Well, let's keep the party rolling with Ra.
Ra is an interesting case, right? Because he has Solar Blessing, which requires you to stand still. It's not the biggest heal in the world, but it still is significant in those situations where it matters, like assault, like in team
for
fights,
assault, for sure.
things like that. So again, heals going down. No more magical power scaling. We're increasing the protections buff, and we're increasing the power buff for both physical and magical.
Yep.
Cooldowns going down, mana's going down, or mana cost is going down, and then we get to the really spicy.
I think that's just an overall massive win.
Pain. Change coming to this is that the power scaling is going down, but
By 5, it's tiny.
By 5.
It's not huge, but
There is now a new component of this ability's damage that deals true damage equal to 5% of the target's max HP to enemy gods only.
So this was going to be a lot better for getting kind of those bigger hits against not just squishies, but also those tanks as well.
Tanks, yeah.
It's enemy gods, so you're not going to be like absolutely destroying fire
Why
giants or
not?
anything with this. Although we did consider it, but that would have
I'm
been.
playing
we
Raw
did
with
the math,
Zoomorph
but
every
I was
damn
like,
game,
no.
and you can't
So-
stop me, and I'm
No.
searing fleshing your face off.
Yeah, a lot of
Good
interesting
luck.
changes with there, but yeah, Solar Blessing kind of more.
Good luck.
Exacerbating on that utility field, that power, that
The hunt begins now.
and kind of new component with Searing Pain.
that's crazy. Scarier, loud laser beams. So looking forward to that. Next up, Guan Yu. I feel like we've talked about Guan Yu a little bit already. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
and this one's also quite interesting because it's not a lot of changes. We're not going through a massive list, but the ones that are there are pretty big. So Conviction, the heal again, is going to be decreased. It never had a scaling component before, and so it's kind of the easiest nerf. I was just like calculator, easy. And then I guess No, I'm not gonna preamble that. That's a whole different piece. All right, maybe We'll talk about them in depth Q&A. No one even knows what I'm talking about right now. Scaling, how we formulated scaling and those nerfs is definitely a good thing to talk about in the Q&A.
Yes.
But conviction, it's now going to be providing 1 second flat CDR immediately to your allied gods that are healed.
Okay.
So this will not affect yourself, so it is not a self buff.
Okay,
because Guan Yu already
has
gets
that.
on
I'm
the
about to
healing.
say,
So
Guan Yu can't double down on that,
he gets a
especially with the
2-second
new item.
flat
Man,
cooldown
ain't
reduction
ever
for
gonna
himself.
just
Now he's going to be doing half of that for allies around
his
him.
friends, yeah.
So it's not a big buff for him in lane or anything like that, but that's why the second buff, which is Talu Assault, is going to be increasing the stack shred and the steel from 3 to 4 stacks. So that will always be helpful.
That's a big buff.
Cool. Yeah, always super helpful. I don't know why. I was just like, with all the jokes, I was sitting here like, I would love if they were like conviction. Now it scales on power. That was the only change.
It's the only one.
Like,
yeah.
wait, what?
Huh?
So it doesn't do that. So I'm just.
Wait, that's
it's all up in here.
illegal.
Terra coming up next. We got the buff lady getting some changes too.
Yeah, Terra's another one of those healers that has multiple abilities, so we're going to be talking about a couple here. So first things first, we got Monolith for 3. Going to be healing for less, but it's also going to be providing protections now if you're standing in it. So a little bit more important to protect that Monolith in lane, or maybe you want to just have it hang around a little bit longer instead of shattering it right away.
Just like that
there's a lot
in
of
general.
benefits of just having it sitting there and you standing within it. That's step number 1, right? But Earth and Fury, ultimate time. The heal is going down quite a lot here. The heal over time is now just completely gone, which is a very big change. But to trade off for that, we're also going to be increasing the damage mitigation that allies are getting when they're affected by those stones from 5% to 10%. So doubling the mitigation for no heal over time.
Right. So this one's also really interesting because we could have just decreased the heal over time, but at that point there was an argument of like, well, maybe this is kind of at the pro angle, but these are things we need to think about too, where you could just onk anyone, right? Like Terra using her ulti is actually an absolute negative if anyone is using onk, because it actually just puts an immediate target on their back and makes them take more damage. So by removing the heal over time completely and focusing on these other effects like the damage mitigation, it's actually almost like a net buff in most circumstances.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it removes an element of counterplay that existed relatively
more mitigations, plus she gives that protection. That seems like a win-win to me for her.
From the stones all being
She's
depleted,
making her whole
you still
team
get the
a lot
benefit of an
tankier.
onk. So it's not a bad thing to do for her, and she's obviously got multiple ways of healing.
Of
so that's
course.
good.
So cool. All right. So this next one, we released a little teaser. This is
this one broke the internet.
This one broke the internet a little bit. Let's talk about Anubis and how he's got them legs on him.
Yeah. So Anubis again falls into a category of gods. So yeah, we are out of the tier
we
healers.
are out of the tier
so I guess
healers,
the clumsy preamble for this one is we're going to be just talking about a few gods. In fact, there's a few on our list, and I think we're going to go and try and think of a few other ones. Just as kind of the spicy ones. Again, we're going to talk about
longer skipping leg day, baby.
And if you want to ask questions later on in the dev Q&A, please do so. But there's a couple of gods who rely on self-healing a little bit more. So we didn't want to exclude them from the list. We wanted to do a holistic list of all the different characters that can heal. So Anubis is passive, decrease healing, increase. So it's not even like healing itself. It's not lifesteal like Freya's is. But we even kept that in mind. But it was like, okay, well, what can we do for a god that cares so much about lifesteal, cares so much not just for the passive, but all these items that are being nerfed as well?
Yeah.
Well, we finally did it.
We did it.
Anubis can walk during Plague of Locusts. It's going to be at 50% movement speed, so he's not zooming at 100.
Yeah, he's not.
But
running
I mean, hey,
everywhere.
we can make that happen.
0.25.
Also,
instead of 0.5.
it's a side buff for this one. The ability is actually going to be
deal.
taking twice as fast. So instead of taking at every 0.5 seconds, it's now going to be taking at 0.25 seconds, which actually also procs his passive faster as well.
Yeah.
So in a way, that itself, you could argue, is definitely just a buff. Also, any of the damage decreases you see here is purely cutting it in half. He's not really going to be receiving any damage nerfs throughout this. It's the same net amount of damage.
Yeah, it's just applied
It's a
in more
solid
frequent
buff for
ticks,
Goobies.
So. Cool. Well, yeah, that's just a spicy
Plus,
one. I am
Typhus
not
gives 20%
prepared
pen,
to
baby.
be hanging out unsuspecting in arena or assault and just watch him. So, not ready for that.
The first thing one of my friends mentioned when they saw the teaser
Let
was
him
like,
move
Anubis
on
jungle is
you
back.
cowards!
It never left.
It never left.
All right, cool. Well, we have a Marty party to talk about next.
Is it a
our
party?
boy Martika Ross. No, it's
not a party.
So,
Party for everyone
it's
else.
your boy.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, your baby.
He's been out for one patch, and now I got to nerf him. I guess it's the way it is when you have a character that's so dependent on lifesteal. And Martika passive really is monstrosity.
Marty's passive,
He's just getting
the
nerfs
best
across
in
the
the
board
game.
because he was performing a little bit stronger than we would like for gods to be. So we're taking him down a bit with this. No buffs here in compensation. This is just lifesteal's going down from 1% per monstrosity stack that you're getting to 0.7%. So again, just less lifesteal overall.
Lifesteal.
And then Poison Barb. This is also kind of going to reflect
Yeah,
on
I'm just like,
change.
I'm closing my eyes and I'm like, there's
Another
so many
preamble?
few small things that like I want to make sure that we address. Yeah, so continue your statement first.
Yes. Well, Poison Barb is going to get decreased healing reduction from 50% to 40%, and now you may begin.
Yeah, and so,
And so.
once again,
Thusly.
so we talked about how anti-heal is going to have a cap from, it's the 100%, which it technically was, to 80%.
Oh,
One of the
sure,
other things that
Sean
we're doing as
got
well
the
is
heal
for
got
God abilities
removed entirely,
specifically
but Marty
that
only
had,
loses 10.
healing reduction at 50%. They're
Playing
all being
favorites.
reduced down to 40%.
Except for one, but we'll talk about that later.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we can get to him later.
We'll get there.
Flash. But yeah, he's
special.
different. He's
Yeah.
special. So that's another thing, and also to keep in mind because we didn't talk about for items.
The
I don't have
classic
exact
Smite
numbers on
rules.
the top
Everybody
of my head, but
follows
they are
this
written
rule,
down somewhere,
except for that one
is that
guy.
there's a now reduced cap for physical and magical lifesteal on items as well. So you can't just, no matter what, we have kind of a new balance knob to tweak. It kind of was there before, but now it's a lot more easier for us to access, and now it is a lot more purposeful. So you can hit magical cap. Magical lifesteal cap, physical lifesteal cap, so keep that in mind. Those do now exist.
Got it. All right, cool. So we have one more of the big noted before we go over a few of the other special cases, but one more big notable god on the list.
Go ahead. I'm going to start looking for some of the other spicy ones.
Oh, yeah.
Go for it. We got Thana.
Thanatos.
On deck.
So Thanatos' big thing is that his abilities cost a bit of health, right?
They do.
So he's also got a little bit of healing to compensate between his passive, between obviously Death Scythe, which is his bread and butter.
Yeah.
Especially if you're using Thanatos.
I get it.
First things first, let's talk about general. So of course, again, we were talking about how his abilities cost health. Well, now they're going to cost 4% of your health instead of 5%. For the ultimate, it's going to 8% from 10% of your health. So just less health cost per ability because you are, of course, getting less back. Now we move on to the passive, Harvester of Souls.
The passive.
You're going to be getting less health from the Souls of Gods as well as less health from the Souls of Minions. And that's just a straight up nerf.
Sure.
Death Scythe, again, going back to that bread and butter. Getting a decreased cooldown by 1. And then, of course, it's now getting this decreased healing as well. So it is now no longer healing wound return for 75%. It's now healing instead for 50% of whatever damage you dealt with that ability.
Okay.
But moving forward, we got to get some more buffs in there, right?
We do.
Soul Reap. The third ability is getting a decreased cooldown by 1 second, and then going forward once again to Hovering Death. The base damage is going up, and the stun duration is also increasing by 5 seconds. That's not insignificant. Yeah, so that's going to feel really good. For those times where you want to use it to engage and not necessarily execute, that's going to give you an even bigger opportunity to really turn those fights around.
Yeah, to really make the play happen.
Oh,
so. Whew, that's a lot of Thana changes. So
yeah, he needed it.
He did.
That's the first time Thanatos had balance in like 3 years, by the way.
Yeah, and again, obviously he's one of those gods similar to Nubis, although probably more important, that relies on healing, right? That's kind of his entire gimmick.
That's the thing.
And it's not like the healing nerfs we did is going to completely remove healing being important for Thanatos at all, but we wanted to make sure he got shifts because he didn't deserve just nerfs.
Yeah, he didn't deserve to be axed, so just a little back and forth.
Oh, he's got a scythe, not an axe.
I'm sorry.
Hey, nice.
I'm done here, by the way. She's taking over for the next show, so it was good. But all right, so what additional special cases did you dig up that you wanted to talk about?
Try to think of any on the top of your mind. I'm going to just like go through the list slightly.
Let's rattle off a few
just some random ones. Like you mentioned Alpwash, so I think that was an important one.
Okay.
Alpwash is the only god that didn't have his anti-heal nerf because he had 2 different ways of applying anti-heal. He's the only one that can kind of reach that new cap all by himself.
Yeah,
so that's
he's the true anti-healer.
And I'm not going to talk about all the different changes for these gods, but obviously like Alpwash had some healing. He's going to have some shifts on that regardless. Another one that's pretty interesting is Arcane. Obviously, she's got some healing changes. Again, I'm not going to go through that here. These are kind of the extra stuff. Venomous Bite now actually applies the anti-heal debuff. So Arachne will be gaining anti-heal as well as the changes. Also, Cocoon. When targets are successfully stunned by Cocoon, the second ability, they'll have their active cooldowns increased by a flat 2 seconds.
Brand new effect.
So this is the first time we're actually increasing active cooldowns. And this is not like the Abyssal Stone where it's kind of just like future cooldowns being changed.
Yep.
Bakasura also going to be getting anti-heal on his takedown ability. So, we're not kind of putting anti-heal everywhere, but we wanted to find some new places to kind of, keep anti-heal as an important effect into the game. Also, Eat Minion being, is going to be getting a cooldown decrease from 15 seconds to 8 seconds. So kind of cutting that in half. That's going to have some pretty big Camazotz is going to get a whole kind of Thanatos levels of changes because of the amount of healing that he does. Chalk's damage on his ulti increasing. Probably not as spicy, but I just want to make sure that we don't miss anything.
A lot of these self-healers and, not healers that affect really a large portion of other players in the game are getting, smaller changes. Some of them are spicier, like Anubis, who was really focused on healing as his core aspect. But some of these other guys that just, I heal when I hit things like Achilles.
Yeah.
Not so much of a change.
Hades ulti, he's going to get that cooldown reduction per hit doubled from 0.2 seconds per hit to 0.4 seconds. So that's pretty exciting. Neat's getting some changes as well, whether it's her general health, her spirit arrow root increasing.
That's going to feel nice.
In duration, or even the backflip getting a small slow increase as well, too.
Yeah, but I know that we don't have graphics for these right now, but again, all of these are listed on the patch notes. We'll be talking about them in the
It says on the bottom right there. Make sure to check it out.
Game is going to feel totally different, and I could use totally different.
Decent changes there with his basic attack speed.
I'm into it. Even the bad changes, I'm into it.
Even more physical protections and attack speed conversions.
Yeah, even though he doesn't have healing, he has that lifesteal.
I'm down to clown on these.
He does, and because
I need the game to feel
also going to be nerfed
new and fresh
with these changes. So he's going to be gaining
punching me in the face for the last couple of weeks. So I need to start punching back.
A lot of things that we're really excited to see how the meta is going to shake out with the healing reduction.
Give me a fresh month or something at least,
with the new items as well.
Let me go build some Zoom Orb on Raw and fry some people with the laser.
So many different things, and again, like. We didn't go over everything. It said so right at the bottom of the screen. Go check out the update notes for a more in-depth view of everything. You got the numbers. You have what all is changing. But we wanted to be done with the show before the natural end of the decay of our star. Yeah. So just lots of stuff that we went over. Super cool. And there's still a little bit more before the show is over. So next up is something that y'all might have seen a while ago. We talked about this a little earlier, but. Another event coming with this update is the Community Calendar event.
It's
something
back.
Y'all are familiar with what?
It's back.
It's back. It is back. We're super excited for it. So what this is we put out a
play
contest a while ago
to
have people submit art to be part of this free event.
I'll make it.
And we selected winners. We let them know. And now is their time for their beautiful art to be in game. And in fact, there's 8 pieces of art in game. As you're about to see here. We're super excited. So for those of you who aren't familiar, we have 2 jump stamps, 2 global emotes, and 4 avatars, all completely incredible. And the skin that you see in the background is actually Witch Seeker Amaterasu, a free skin in this event. And the way this event works, if you are not familiar, is once the patch starts, you will have 2 weeks to play 1 game every day for free rewards. So you will earn boosters, you'll earn a whole bunch of different stuff, including all 8 of those fabulous fan-made cosmetics you'll see there. And these were made by, we should be tweeting about all of the beautiful people with their ats as well as putting it on the update notes. It's all there. So make sure to check it out. But if you play for at least 6 of those days, you will also be getting the Witch Seeker Amaterasu skin, which is in the background, but there it is in full beautiful glory.
Nice.
So an absolutely fantastic skin. Shame AJ couldn't be here to dote over it. But it's just absolutely incredible. And again, all of this is completely free. So when the event launches with the update, you will have 2 weeks for the duration of the event to play 1 game a day. Win, lose, or in between. Just hop on, play a game with your friends, play a game solo, queue some arena, and earn free rewards. And with at least 6 of them, this skin is yours for free as a celebration of Smite. So super excited for that. Make sure y'all get in to check it out. And a big congratulations to all of our incredible community artists. Again, their art is featured with respects paid to them on our update notes. I've been talking for so long, my brain is rotting. On Twitter on our update notes, because we love y'all. We love the hard work you do. Our artists are incredible. So thank you so much. So yeah, now I'm going to do more talking, as if that's a good idea. Sorry, y'all. About some quality of life changes that we just think are really, really cool, and we wanted to let y'all know. So it's like a speed round. Ready? Here we go. First up, ranked reset for Year 10 Season 2. Classic ranked reset, MMR changes, values and rank. You can see all the information down there, but just a ranked reset. We're looking forward to it. Part of the jump into the new season for Year 10 with Season 2, so excited to see that. A bit of an update to the way commendations work, also coming to the game. So the time limit has been changed a little bit, but the amount between commendations has been reduced. And the change to this is also to help people party up more. If you played with somebody you really liked and commended them post the game, there is the option to commend and then maybe try to join a team with each other and play for a while, queue up for a little bit, maybe make some new friends in the Smite community. So a super cool change there. There's also ranked split reward increase. This is just an overall plus side for everybody. But the 15-win split reward in ranked now gives godlike chest with updated and expanded rewards, while the 50-win split reward has been increased from 50 to 100 gems. Okay, get the split, earn more stuff. I don't know what else to say. It's just all good stuff. Giving you more things. Happy birthday. And then finally, Marty got a haircut.
Let's go.
Yeah, right, Pog. So and we actually, I believe we can show you right now, Marticarus just got a haircut, a little bit of a texture update just to show off those beautiful locks.
They really did.
Looking absolutely fierce on the battleground, kind of settled in, you know?
Right.
Oh yeah, now that he's here, I mean, he's got to be looking good. And
yeah,
this
right.
looks
They actually
really happy to see
texture
that.
updated him
Showed up to
already
the party
because
and was
so
like,
many people were making fun of him.
Suit, I could just update the drip a little bit now that I've relaxed into the battleground.
For all the Manticores out there, he is the drippiest.
Yeah, that's true.
It
the absolute
is
drippiest. And when you've been
like
eating as many gods with a diet
better.
of exclusively gods and minions,
It's
like
not
the flourish, the
it's
shine
not
in the hair, it's all
100%
bound
great,
to be
but
there.
it is like 20% better.
Super nice. All right, so we did it. We did it. We made it. We made it through an incredible. That's it. Yeah, that is the season of hope. There's so many things we were so excited to share. And as y'all saw, we've changed up the way we're doing the update show a little bit. So please give us feedback on that.
It was way
on
better.
the healing
Clumsy.
changes
It was a
as y'all
long-ass
experience them
one.
on
That
everything.
wasn't your fault. That was
because
way
we're
better.
trying to shake it up in year 10, and we're having so much fun with it. We hope y'all are too. Some things to think about as the show ends is PTS for one. Who wants to wait till Friday to play PTS? PTS should be up before. It'll be up soon. It'll be up today.
Oh, hell yeah.
And mighty soon. So keep your eyes open for that. Yeah,
Clumsy
right?
says, "Oh,
So,
hell
I mean,
yeah."
y'all saw how much stuff there was. We want as much of your feedback as possible right away. So get in, test it out, let us know what you think. But that's not all. As we mentioned earlier, as soon as this show ends, we're going to be jumping into, like a minute or two after the show ends, you know what I mean? We're going to be jumping into the fan art show with Ina talking about,
Guess
the
we're playing
Finrar
PTS
XD
tomorrow.
scan that y'all saw earlier.
And Friday, huh?
So just make sure to hang out and check out
Guess
the
we're
fan
doing
art show.
sub games on
we're the highest art
Thursday
show,
and
'cause we always
Friday,
love that.
baby.
And then last but not least,
Sub
as we
games?
mentioned earlier, again, that show's going to end. Art's going to be talked about. And then we have some beautiful devs here who are going to be hanging out with y'all, answering questions, and really getting into that deep dive for 10-3, the Season of Hope. So many things that we've gone over already, so many more to go over, and we're really just looking forward to y'all's feedback.
Okay, well, I mean, patch was massive. Obviously, the number one thing is there's no way to tell how the patch is going to go when a patch is this big, right? When it's like a small patch, you can be like, it was mostly good, it was mostly bad. With a patch this big, it's just like, wow, that's a lot of different. I'm a big fan of difference. One, because I play the game all day, but also two, because I just generically think that it's healthier for Smite. I think that the seasonal changes are going to be really good for the game, mostly because we've talked about it, but like most of the people that play Smite play like a lot of Smite, which means that they also could use the changes as well. Overall goals, the healing reduction, interesting. Characters that are going to be stronger, interesting. Some of the new items and balance, interesting. Map aesthetic was fine. That was okay. The actual change to the patch show format was fantastic. This patch note show was like 100 times more enjoyable to watch than they have been. They were so much better. Even though they were 2 hours long, it went by 4 hours faster than they normally do because it was just way better put together. But I would say pretty excited about this Season of Hope. I think that they definitely, we talked about like how if they were going to do 4 seasons a year, one of the big things that they needed to be careful of was promising that they were going to do 4 seasons and then under delivering on how like much the game changes. I certainly don't think a criticism can be that they didn't change enough. So I certainly do not think that they under delivered. So if they keep trying to deliver this level of like game changing every 3 months for the new season, I think that that will help keep the game quite fresh, especially for the majority of people, which will be very good for the health and longevity of Smite for the year. If PTS is going to be up, then we are going to play PTS tomorrow and Friday and probably every day until, PTS goes down until the new season comes up. So make sure your PTS is downloaded and updated for tomorrow morning if you want to come play some sub games. We'll have some fun. We'll do God requests and song requests, and we'll check out all the new PTS stuff. And I'll give Loyal a bunch of content to work on to make for YouTube. So thank you guys for coming out to the stream today. Big flexes for each and every one of you. Don't forget to type in !every play. And check out the panel down below, guys, in order to get yourself that every play for $1.49 per meal with code POGINCON149. Only 1 week left on that deal. If you are planning on grabbing it, have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you all bright and early tomorrow morning for some PTS action. Thank you for supporting the Twitchiest community. If you'd like to see more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and always hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for all your support and have a Twitchin' day, y'all.